Yo, yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy, vexyz, the lurking legend, head cook of the last arc. And we are here with a lovely bunch of individuals, which I will introduce very quickly. And make sure you guys like the stream, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. But we got to open it up with, we got the first mate of the last arc. We got Den Kushi with us. How you doing today, brother?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Super happy to be on this one, and very excited to, like, we're mini fans, you know. So I'm keen to speak to the doc.
Keen to speak. Respect. Love it. And then we've also got the historian of the last arc. We've got Kube of the Red Sea with us. How are you doing today, brother?
What up, what up? Very excited for this stream. You know, it's a sort of a new year, and I think, like, you know, I think Dr. GB is our first new guest of the year, so it's like, if I'm not mistaken, on the Saturday stream, so I'm really excited, honestly.
Very excited for yeah, we're getting a house call from Dr. GB themselves. How are you doing today? Very glad to have you on.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on the stream, and I think we're going to be talking about a lot of things today, so I'm very excited. And yeah, glad to be here. Glad to be here with everybody. And thanks, Cube, for inviting me to this thing.
Yeah, we're super glad to have you. And I have links in the description to your link tree and your YouTube page. But if you could just, for a quick second, tell the folks a little bit about yourself. We're super glad to have you there. Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. So I'm an artist. I make thumbnails for a One Piece French YouTuber named Rio Sensei, and I also make webtoon stuff like that. So currently I only have like 3 episodes out of a series named TOON, or Tombeau in French, and but I'm looking forward to continuing the series in 2024. I'm preparing for a really cool big project, which is why I'm on a break right now, but yeah.
Fire.
That's about it.
I hope you don't mind for the thumbnail. I stole something from the first page of TOON.
I noticed.
But
yeah, I'm clicking on the stream right now. It looks really good, though.
I'm a little bit of a thumbnail artist myself, so I mad respect, because I know the grind there. But yeah, excellent work. I read the prologue chapter myself. Everybody, make sure you check out TOON. Like I said, Dr. GB's link tree in the description. It's fire. But do that after the stream. But yeah,
really appreciate it. Yeah.
I am going to hype up Dr. GB a bit, because for people who don't know, because, you know, French, I'm francophone, so I know the French community as well. Rio Sensei is, like, if you talk about a part vision or deck, he's like really good. He's really good. So it's like, yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's really good.
And the art, like.
He is one of the biggest. No, it's fine. He's one of the biggest figures in the French manga space, I guess you could say. But he's also very just an awesome individual. He's helped me a lot for my own projects and whatnot. So awesome individual, awesome creator, very entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, I took 3 years of. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's funny because I was having a conversation with someone today about OP creators and the ones that are blowing up and stuff, not just American or English or anything like that, like all of them. And I just kind of realized that, like, the mass majority of them are so nice, like, are like really cool, nice people that are just down, like, to vibe. So yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I took 3.5 years of AP French when I was in high school, but I haven't retained much of it. But I was looking into some of the, because Cube's been hyping up. We've been trying to get a little bit more involvement, because that's kind of the whole deal of the last arc, is we want to bridge the gap between American audiences and European audiences as well. So super glad to kind of get the ball rolling first thing in the 2024. We're so glad to have you on again. I'm probably gonna say it like 3 or 4 more times during the stream, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure where you want to start. Kube's got a few things like a schedule, but like I do just want to say, like, we were just talking about the art style, like TLA people that are in our community and stuff like that would love your stuff. It's like not just Webtoon. Not that I don't mean to patronize it by saying just, but it's not only Webtoon. It's like it's got quite a DC Marvel-y, particularly like New Age Marvel like style to the art as well. Almost JoJo's like.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It's real subtle and real like insane quality in my opinion. Like as good as it gets. That's just my opinion, but I'm no.
I really appreciate this. I feel like there's definitely a lot of different influences in my art style because I'm not a Webtoon fan at first. Like I chose Webtoon as a platform just because it was convenient, since you can like anybody can post on it, right? It's kind of like YouTube. But the thing is, I'm from manga originally, so I got a lot of more manga influence, and my art style is more on the kind of like pseudo realistic side, in the sense of there's a bit of details and whatnot. And I was influenced very early on by like Takeshi Obata, who draws Death Note, Bakuman, that kind of stuff. And
Solid. That shows a little bit.
Maybe that shows a little bit, I feel like. And then maybe what feels more Marvel, I guess, could maybe just be from the nature of the story, because the characters we're following are vampire hunters, and so in this universe they're kind of like the heroes of this society. So maybe that just naturally transpired. I don't know.
Well, like it is interesting. Like what I noticed. So I find it fascinating you brought it up so quick, like the pseudo-realism and stuff. Like there's definitely a hint of surrealism. Like you seem to, I don't know, I'm not too sure how long you've been going or what your experience is per se, but I guess we'll find out pretty shortly. But it is so like, I don't know what the word is. Like, I don't want to say cultured because that is not the word, but it's so like, you just seem to have that like natural gift. Like when, in my opinion, like when you see Oda and that lot and all them lot do their thing, there's that balance of realism and surrealism which comes from like an understanding of their idea or their like their art. And like in my opinion, like all three just look so consistent like that. They you would not know that you're not an experienced manhwa artist, you know, in my opinion.
Oh, that's a lot of compliments. I guess maybe this balance you're talking about is just from me trying so many times with so different stories and experimenting so much with different styles. I have, depending on like the stories I'm working on, I might like kind of tweak a little bit my art style, go more simplistic if the story is more like comical and whatnot, or going more like darker, especially when I'm working on manga specifically, just darker with a lot of screen tones and even more realistic maybe. So yeah, we'll try to adapt my style and find a great balance that matches the tone and the universe of the story. Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you bring up Death Note, because you know, from being from a francophone country, Belgium, and speaking of other francophone, I feel like Death Note had such a crazy impact on the French community. Like I think it's one of those, like it always mentioned, like in any like people who don't even like shonen or like are in different style of manga or just they will bring up Death Note at one point. Yeah, like it really impacted an entire community. It's funny you said that. Because...
Interesting.
Absolutely.
I also, just to touch on what you were saying a second ago, like I've seen a few of your other drawings and stuff like that, and I saw some. I'm not sure how recent it were. They might have been more recent, like some drawings that you did as Zebek. That's right. Yeah, I'm getting the right ones. I hope. They look like some drawings you've done of Zebek.
Oh yeah. That was the kind of like my head canon, I guess.
Yeah. Like if you put that next to TOON, there's no way you would think that's the same artist. Like that, like it's just so rich in each of their own styles, man. Like you definitely. Yeah. I was surprised. Like.
Yeah, I see what you mean for sure. That's when I'm kind of casually drawing, like doodling and whatnot. I kind of use, because also when you're drawing digitally, it's way easier to kind of switch your style around and what the design is going to look like overall, because you can change like the pen that you use, you can change like the way you color things, and so there's a way better accessibility to diversity in what you draw. But if you like this like seeing the art change and whatnot, I would advise you to maybe check out Riot. You can find it in my link tree as well. And it's like there are only a few pages, like the first few pages that are finished, and the rest is like in storyboard sketch format. But you can see what my art style looks like when it's pure manga. So black and white, very dark and everything. And it looks significantly different.
Definitely, like that's cool. That's cool. Like I'd definitely be, because so you mentioned like your roots are in manga, right? Like,
yep.
Where do they cut? Is Death Note your first sort of read?
Well, my first read. You said?
Yeah, like your first like proper manga that you were getting into.
So my first proper manga series that I read was Blue Exorcist.
Hey.
Because I'm a huge Blue Exorcist fan, and you gotta read the manga because the series is way better in manga and the anime doesn't really follow it. But yeah, because Blue Exorcist was the first anime that I watched, kind of like by myself, on like in its entirety. And so I got so obsessed with it, I started buying the volumes as a kid, and that was kind of like my starting point with Death Note, alongside Death Note. And so yeah, and because I was so obsessed with Death Note, then I started reading Bakuman. There's my mom laughing in the back. It's fine. So I started reading Bakuman, which, if you guys are not familiar with, it's by the same duo than Death Note, and it talks about like little teenage boys trying to become famous mangaka. And so I learned a lot of things from there, and I got very inspired, and I wanted to follow their trace. I thought I could become like famous by 18, because I thought it could be like in Bakuman. But anyways, so I started drawing. Traditionally at first, manga. So, with the actual paper, the Indian ink, the G pen, the Copic markers, all that stuff, exactly like all the people in Japan, the screen tones, the actual screen tones, and yeah. But yeah, Blue Exorcist was my first
I know what you mean, like
read.
Yeah, big variety of tools like that you were mentioning earlier as well. Like there's a lot of, it's easy to switch the styles by using the different tools. But yeah, Vex, you're a Blue Exorcist fan.
It's a huge like callback for me. It's been quite some time, but yeah, that was something my brother got me into like quite a while back. Man, I'm gonna have to revisit it though. I need to put that on the list. That's crazy, and it really resonated with me, especially what you were saying about like I was in 2D and 3D art when I was growing up and going through like middle school and high school and things like that. And man, our art supply is expensive. So it was.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like so I'm actually in the market for getting myself a tablet right now, just because. Man, using a mouse is not it either. Like, but
oh hell no. Oh,
yeah,
no.
It's a grind.
It's absolutely terrible.
It is a grind. Like I can get the job done, but man, I feel like it would just be so much easier with a tablet. So that like extremely resonated with me when you were telling me, when we were saying to the audience that it's like it's a lot easier to switch up and have just all of these tools available to you digitally. That's.
Yeah. As
I get more into like my graphic design, like stuff, because I did 2 years of graphic design myself when I was in high school. I took electronic media, but really my main background was in like 2D and 3D art, like watercolor and pastels and like even like wood carving and things like that. I did a little bit of like sculpting and ceramics, but that wasn't really it for me. And you can't really have a kiln at home, but the digital side of things is just so much more accessible. We got Ragnar, aka Lord Vegeta, in the chat. He is absolutely obsessed with manhwa and webtoons and the like. If you check the link tree in the description, brother, you can see some of Dr. GB's work.
Yeah,
Lots
it's
of
called TOON. If you
lots
want the
of
link tree, it's on there.
yeah, lots of gas to come in 2024, according to the doc themselves, and I'm looking forward to it. It's because like I said, I did check out the prologue chapter, and the art is, like Den has been saying, it's phenomenal, and I could see some of the influences that you're talking about coming through into the pages, and it's really great. And I love this style of like a web comic as opposed to like a actual physical, for me specifically, just because like as you're scrolling down, you can have like in the first chapter when the alarm's going off, and you could see like the little stair stepping and zigzagging. Like you can't really get that. That doesn't translate from like page turning.
Yeah, exactly.
But the scroll aspect, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, you'll be able to see more of this in chapter 2 and 3 specifically. In 3, there's a nice thread like this, but I feel like it's just a very different medium in the sense of, for example, there are things in manga that are more effective. For example, I believe that drawing fights is kind of better in manga in a lot of ways, because you can you have the panels side by side, and you can do double spread pages, while it's very restricted because it's vertical in Webtoon. But in the other way, like in the other sense, like it's way easier to create kind of an atmosphere and to manage the rhythm of which the reader is going to be reading your story, because you can leave how many blank space you want, and you can do those long kind of like color, panels and whatnot to create transitions and all that stuff. So yeah, it's very different. You can do a bunch of different things.
Yeah, that's always something that's kind of eluded me. If like I've done like art quite a bit, like at least like 8 to 9 years in my background, but never really took it too seriously as far as to try to make it more than a hobby. But paneling has always been something that, when it's good, it's good, and it really makes a huge difference. And it's like you were saying, completely different in manga than it is in like a scrolling type of format. And I love to see like that style. It's a lot more accessible for like on the phone as well, and like it's really, really interesting. And I think that you've done a really, really great job with what I've seen so far. I'm very eager to see what's left, to come from you. And I still have to get 2 more chapters in, but it's been really solid. And yeah, Dastard, major shout out to one of our regulars in the chat saying that the art is good. It is great, brother. And yeah, Lord Vegeta, I remember hearing him saying that he's been cooking on his own like a webtoon style a thing going on for a couple months now. Did you have maybe any advice for people who are getting into it?
Honestly, it kind of depends what kind of background they have, because the advice is going to be different. But I feel like it's always going to be about what's your goal with it. I think you have to think logically like this. Are you trying to become a professional or make money out of it? Or are you just doing this as a hobby? Because if you're doing this as a hobby, there's no limit to what you can do. Do whatever you want, and whatever makes you happy. If you want to make it a job now, you might be thinking about more of the practical aspect to it. Of maybe trying to develop like some social media presence, even though it's very difficult. I'm gonna try my best to develop this in 2024. But when it comes to the art and any just general advice, I would say maybe read other webtoons to kind of really get a feel of how you do webtoon. As I said, learn how to do paneling differently, especially if you come from another background. If you're more familiar with comics or manga, it's very different, as I said. So familiarize yourself with the medium and really think about it like logically. What do you want to do, etc. Because webtoon, it depends from country to country, but the editors that work there, if you want to become an original on webtoon, they are looking for specific kinds of series and stories. So unless you have like a really large media fan base, like on social media and whatnot, that is going to be supporting you no matter what you do. If you want to become an original, it's kind of better to do what they want, which is unfortunate. And I'm not really following into this either. And it's kind of depressing Yeah, the one time I was talking about with Webtoon editor, she told me, you gotta make romance or love triangles. And I was like, hell no, what is wrong? I'm not about to do love triangles. Who do you think I am? I'm not about
That's
to do this.
actually hilarious.
It is kind of funny. But
it's funny, we like one of our friends like eats it up as well. Like she does a stream for TLA every now and then where she introduces like the audience and stuff to new memoir, and it's always involves a love triangle and time travel, or some sort of revenge murder.
Yeah, husbandos for days.
I did want to just husbandos, basically. Yeah. One thing I did want to touch on though, like, is I won't go into it too much now, but I do completely hear what you're saying, and I personally, in my own personal life, I completely like agree with that. Like, it's important, like, to know what the aim is if you do need to do something practically, or like if you want to achieve something, then like know what it is, and then you can head for it practically. Otherwise, like, yeah, just do whatever you want, right? Which leads me to ask, what currently, if you're happy sharing it, what's your sort of aims with your art in general, like not just with any particular series, but have you got an end goal in mind, or
kind of like where I want to go?
Yeah, like, or even a dream, like where do you want this to take you ultimately? If you don't mind?
That's a big moment. I want to make it my job. It's been my dream since I was like in high school, and I started getting into manga. I've been wanting to do this professionally, and so TOON is I'm gonna place all my bets on this one thing for now, which is why I'm working for this project in 2024. This is where I want to go. That's what I want to do. So I'm gonna try my best to do things on social media, because I'm not counting on becoming an original. Because as I said, I'm not really sure if my series would best fit for what they're looking for in terms of original webtoon series. So I want to be, finding the people that are genuinely going to be interested in my work and want to follow that kind of stuff. And I really like the idea of the reason why I love TOON so much is because it takes very classic concepts. You have the school, you have vampires and vampire hunters, and that's cool, right? Everybody loves vampires. And it's a very simple concept, but I really like subverting expectations. And so the more we're gonna get into the story, the more you're gonna see that. And also it's a very special story to me, because it actually the oldest story that I've been working on over the years is called The Chase. That was my first webtoon that I kind of started. I stopped now, but I started it for a while. And the characters of TOON are actually the same characters than Chase. So Chase is an AU for people that are familiar. It's like an alternate universe.
That's fire. That's actually fire.
Yeah, so that's actually really, really fire. So because I was tiring myself of trying to find the best angle to start Chase, because I kept on trying to find better ways to start it so that editors would be interested in it, and I would tire myself with this idea. And so I was like, hold on, let me pause and work on something new for a while. And I was like, but I feel sad about leaving my characters. I don't want to leave them, like, So I was like, let me create this new story with the same characters. And so that way, if one day this new story works, maybe people will be interested in following the actual original story, because they're already somewhat familiar with the characters. And so I took the opportunity as well to take mostly the supporting cast of Chase are now the main characters. So the focus shifts, and that's pretty interesting for me. And yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like taking what you love and your idea and your ideal, and then like finding a vehicle for it to make its way into the essentially professional side, or like the system, the big machine. Like also you mentioned your mum in the background, I guess, and that's who we can hear. I'd be interested
She's right there. She was she was serving me rum.
Is your mum?
As you were talking, actually.
Okay.
Cheers, everybody.
Yo, shout out.
Cheers, yeah, bro.
We're watching. We just finished Marineford, an anime.
Oh dang!
Wow, we got a One Piece club. Okay.
Yeah,
We love that.
We saw Ice and Whitebeard die, and that's terrible.
That's actually hilarious. We were just in a stream last night talking about like post time skip predictions and stuff like that with a little bit of a podcast we do every Friday night for Chadmirals, and so we were just talking about Marineford and Saba Odi and stuff like that. Go ahead, Den. Sorry, I just thought that was so. It was like a coincidental, you know.
Yeah. No, not at all. I was just going to ask. Your mum can hear us, correct?
No. I have my.
Oh, okay.
Earphones.
I was going to ask about spoilers post Marineford, but okay, that's we've got the all clear, so it's okay. I don't want an angry mum coming after Tia.
No. You're good. She just hears what I say, but not you guys.
Okay, so we can spoil away. Perfect.
I actually wanted to. You were talking about specifically like with your content, like subverting expectations, and I love to hear as a little bit of a pivot towards One Piece as well. Is there something that you've kind of taken maybe from Oda or like types of like and you don't have to spoil anything about your story that's to come, but like is there a little bit of inspiration that you're pulling from Oda as well that you're putting into your content?
Oof, that's an interesting question. I've never thought about this. Is there? Okay. With this story specifically, I don't think so necessarily. But I have been inspired by Oda for other stories. A few months ago, I believe, I was I had the idea for a new story that was kind of like pirates adjacent, I guess, but mostly, you know, Oda has a very, how to say this, communicative art style. It's very colorful and all of this, while my art is very emo, you know. Sometimes I'm like, oh no, why is everybody just dressing in black? So I was like, let me create fun characters with you know, fun color palettes and all that stuff. And it was a story about adventure, and it was also, I was just mostly having fun thinking about this new story on my own. It was kind of my own way of getting into adventures of my own. I feel like this is just in general a lot of things that I do with my work is that I get to put my characters in situations that I would otherwise never be. So imagining them going on adventures and is amazing. I feel like this is also one of the appeal of One Piece, those grand adventures and those crazy, you know, experiences and whatnot. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not sure with TOON if I have any kind of inspiration from One Piece. I feel like we're very different, specifically with TOON because it's very character centered. TOON, it's very going to be about exploring the psychology of the characters and all that stuff, and not so much the lore. It's not a lore heavy story necessarily, while One Piece is most definitely kind of like very lore heavy, universe exploration, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, very different for sure.
Well, speaking of edgy, I want to say welcome to Josh, the music. No, I'm kidding. Oh my god. But welcome in. We got Joshua Vythor, our musician of the last arc, joining us. And how you doing today, brother?
Yo, I'm good. How is everybody doing?
Vibing, bro.
So yeah.
So what's cooking?
So listen, I have a question that will basically pivot from Webtoon to more One Piece with the current arc, and it's something is because this is personal for me because I did like the reveal of Gear 5 and the Toonish aspect to it, and I do believe because I've never had a discussion where we thought it going sideways. So I actually want like what was your impression of that transition of 1044, 1045, which is going from more of a very dramatic moment with Kaido and Luffy to the Toon world effect?
Goofy Luffy, you know.
Yeah. I'm very curious.
Who are you asking?
What was your thought of the transition? Because if you think of before 1044, it was very grim One Piece.
He was asking you, Doc, but the question.
Yeah. Or anyone else want to answer that as well?
Well, like I can start us off because I've actually got some thoughts on this. As most of you know, like I'm a manga reader. I'm not against anime. I just haven't seen anywhere near as much anime as I've read manga and books and stuff. I watched the new episode last night, and it's beautiful. Like, but God, it is like it's a good question, Kube, in my opinion, because it's a heavy juxtaposition, and I do like the whole episode gripped me, but it is just weird seeing such a drastic change in art style because, like in Wano, it was like steroided up, it was pumped up, but it was still One Piece, and I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but then to have this egghead thing where the whole episode was like a movie, it was amazing, but it also kind of took me out of it. I do think it's a sick question.
Yeah. I wonder. Sorry, Vex, go.
Yeah, I was saying, like, I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I'm not a huge animation buff, but just looking at the difference in the art style and seeing that the difference in the thickness of like the lines and like it's very interesting. And I looked a little bit into, and I heard about other people looking into the animators that worked on it and whatnot. And specifically for this most recent episode, they had I'm blanking on the name, I'm so sorry, but the animator who was the lead for the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. And so it really is interesting, like when you kind of like see how the creator's work has, transformed One Piece from what we had in Wano with much thicker lines and much like less pastel colorations and like more contrast to it. And then we see this more fluid. I mean, the animation is a little bit less fluid, I'd say, but the art style seems a little bit more fluid in this most recent. And knowing that Megumi Ishitani, the GOAT, that has done so many wonderful things throughout like all of animation in general and Japanimation like in general, but like but specifically some of our favorite like One Piece episodes, it storyboarded the new opening, which is also like just a stark contrast from what we had with the previous opening. It's really, really interesting. And yeah, like I'm still not sure how I feel about it. It seems to be a little bit divisive in the community as well. So Dr. GB, have you seen the newest episode or the new opening of One Piece?
No, I haven't. I've seen images, but I haven't. But I thought y'all were talking about the Gear 5 as well.
Well, it's so the way that Gear 5 is animated, it's definitely different from the rest of Wano, and we're seeing a little bit more of, I don't know if this is what we're going to get from the rest of the anime as Egghead goes forward, or if they just kind of went in for this one episode. But I think that they took a lot from the way that Gear 5 was animated and drawn and have put that into the entire show now. Which is very contrasting to how the rest of Wano was, you know what I mean?
Whereas the manga like doesn't depict that; it just goes consistently. But sorry, Doc, carry on.
Oh no, I was just saying I'm not too familiar with the anime, especially recently. But yeah, I have seen the Gear 5 episode, and yeah, it is kind of different, and it does resemble a bit more the newer aesthetic, I guess, of the newest episodes. I've seen screenshots and whatnot. But yeah, I don't have much of an opinion.
No.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had like Joy Boy theories writing in the chat the other day about like I think he ended up jumping on and talking about it as well. Just this idea that like ultimately we've all been so it's so surreal, One Piece becoming so big, but now we are probably going to be looking at it like being pandered a little bit to the wider audience. So like brighter color schemes, more attractive. I mean, like, if it's a shame you haven't seen the episode, because as I say, I don't really watch much anime, but I would advise watching. Like, it's the sort of thing you watch and you're like, whoa, I might show somebody else this, like somebody who doesn't watch anime this, because it's so smooth and trippy and fluid and stuff like that. But anyway, back to the manga. The manga itself only shows it even in Gear 5, it doesn't actually show it. It only shows certain elements, like when Luffy pops his head through the roof during Roof Piece. Some of the characters' eyes pop out, but not everyone's eyes pop out. So it is interesting there.
There's something like because I'm like you guys. I basically watch an anime when everything is over in one go, but the manga I just reread the chapters, and it's more and more for me. It does make me think that the anime is showing us the world of One Piece and how Luffy sees it or feels it, because it's the darkest arcs in One Piece is when Luffy is the most depressed, and the lightest arcs in One Piece is when Luffy is the happiest. So I start to feel like we're sensing a point of view of Luffy type of situation. But yeah, I've just been thinking that recently. But yeah,
I mean, I'm curious. Doc, do you how involved are you in the One Piece community in terms of do you watch One Piece YouTubers, or do you just read the manga as soon as it drops, or do you wait a few days, or how? What's your relationship with One Piece at the moment?
I read the chapters as soon as they come out, usually, because of the thumbnails that I have to make, but not just because of that. Just in general, I like reading them straight away. And I'm somewhat involved. Yeah, I watch a couple of YouTubers. I watch JD Legend, Murphy.
Yeah. Dude, I love Murphy so much. Oh my goodness. I love Murphy too.
I love her so much. So yeah, I watch Alexander as well. He's currently reading One Piece. I think he's at Whole Cake Island right now.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to catch up. He did a collab stream with King Recon, who was in our live chat for our stream of Liberation, and once he gets caught up, I can't wait for him to start doing more collabs with the rest of the community. It's so great that you just name dropped AJ, because that's my guy. That was one of the first
his channel. It's kind of like it's a comfort channel, just his energy is so chill. I love
it's always a I love the Jozu memes too. Some of my favorite bits.
Just the memes that come out of his community. It's so fun. We love them.
Yeah, but I really, because I was able to catch some of his stuff as I was catching up as well. So it's crazy that you mentioned that, because not a lot of people really that's a really, really great pull. And again, I can't wait for him to be caught up so that we could probably get him on a stream. And a big goal of ours as well is to get Murphy on a stream hopefully soon. That would be amazing, because the first stream that we did this year was huge, as far as the amount of guests that we had on and stuff like that. So we've got big plans for TLA for 2024, and it's wild that to me that you just name dropped Alexander.
We'll make sure that when we get in touch with Murphy, we'll drop you a message, Doc, if you want.
Lovely, I love it. But yeah, I found his with Hunter x Hunter, because that's my favorite manga anime. So
we just became best friends, absolutely.
Oh, let's go. First of all, I think that your profile picture alone, I'm kind of this guy knows the vibe.
It's hilarious.
Wait, is it the chef? Is it the chef hat?
Yeah. The one that Smokey made for me.
I'm you understand he's everything that is needed.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But yeah, Hunter x Hunter is, I put it right up there with One Piece as far as the character development and world building and things like that. I don't want to speak too much on it if a lot of people aren't caught up and stuff like that. Yeah. And I really want to really quickly shout out to the GOAT himself, Desnus the Dwarf, in the chat. What's good? He said, lovely people.
Hey,
but but it was Hunter x Hunter is so ridiculously important to me, and Oh my goodness, it's
same.
gonna be
God.
crazy because there's confirmation that the new season is in production, but we don't have a release date or any prospective release time or frame or season or anything like that. But they said a while back that they are trying to work on a new season, and I am so ridiculously hyped for that. Like,
Well, damn. I hope that this is true.
I stand by this. If the Togashi didn't have his health issues and it took longer to expect, to continue the story, I think manga wise, Hunter x Hunter everyone would recognize as one of the best stories, and anime wise, it would be one of the best. It's just for me.
Oh yeah,
it's so.
It'd be part of the big three. I think that's probably. Oh yeah, for sure. But it's also very special. It's also a story that is very, very special to me. The first time that I watched it in anime. It was during the time where I tried for the first time participating into a international manga contest. Except I had like 2 weeks to draw 50 pages, which was insane. So I would wake up every single day at like 4 a.m. before school and draw and bring my pages to school and draw there. And all the way throughout, I would be watching Hunter x Hunter for the first time. And so that was my first experience. And so it helped me through the tough time. And yeah, after that, I rewatched it over and over and over again. And so I read the manga as well. Yeah, very awesome story. It's in my top. Yeah, it's my number one. And then the two others are Kingdom and One Piece. And that's
interesting.
Huge.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Peak fiction, absolutely. Real quick.
Fiction, yeah.
Yeah, real quick, I got a shout out to JJ. We got John Sherrod on all social media in the chat. That's our OPU fam. Looking forward to the Davy Bag fight.
TLA member.
but no, yeah. I need to get on Kingdom. I really do. I've been hearing a lot of absolute gas about it, and we lost a loved one in the community who used to sing its praises, and so I think a lot of people who were sleeping on it are getting into it now.
Sing its praises is putting it lightly. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like, I gotta check it out. Also, Handsome in the chat is popping off. Crazy takes. But
I'm curious, Doc. Just before we move off the One Piece stuff, like, do you, not for the sake of predictions, but do you have any ideas or feelings as to what's coming up? Like, have you got any thoughts on what's going to happen in One Piece in the nearer future? Not like they get to laugh now.
Personally, hold on.
Was I cutting out a little bit? Apologies if I was.
No, you were good.
There was a cutout. There was a cutout from, I don't know who, but I just heard someone's voice just cut out. I don't know who it was.
Oh, okay, cool. So, did you hear what I was saying, Doc?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then fire away.
So if I have any predictions, no. Honestly, no, not really. I think the closest thing to a prediction was some time ago, where I really was kind of feeling the demonic stuff approaching little by little. To me, that was always kind of like where we were going in the more kind of spiritual realm.
Like yokai.
It was kind of interesting how like it's such a fantastic and like fantasy story where you have all those crazy creatures and whatnot, but we hadn't explored that much the spirituality aspect, which was very interesting to me. So I kind of thought we were going into this direction, which I think we are, but I don't think I have any predictions.
I think
like this.
Personally, I think that's super spicy. Like, that's my agenda. Like, I think that we're going that direction, probably through the Gorosei. Like, each member will probably be a little more nuanced in the spirituality until we finally get towards the end and can grasp some big concepts. Like,
and I think that, this just a quick thing. Very often, at the end of big manga like this, you're gonna have like gods basically fighting the main characters, and kind of like this thing, because you always have to go bigger in terms of like levels. So at the end, we're fighting literal gods or aliens. But the thing is, I feel like oftentimes it's not that effective or interesting, but I feel like the way that it's being brought up in One Piece feels very unique. Like, I don't know how Oda does it, because he brings in all those kind of like quote unquote tropes and whatnot, even things with the clones and the cyborgs and all this, but he makes it so unique and he makes it work so well. And I think it's because of the richness of his universe. It's been like this since the beginning. We have seen crazy things from the beginning, so nothing is surprising. You know, like if tomorrow we're going to the moon in One Piece, that yeah, sure, we're going to the moon.
Yeah.
Because that's the type of stuff that's been happening since the beginning. So it's like, you know, everything, he makes it work no matter what he decides. Which is why I don't even want to make predictions, because I'm like, I trust wherever he is going.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I understand what you mean in that, like, in that sense, in that like Oda tells the story. And if you're reading One Piece, in my opinion, properly, this might be pretentious, but then you're just open to be told what he's got, you know, what is coming, like.
So, but anyways, I was going to pivot at one point to a more of the current arc, Egghead, you know, how Dr. GB is liking with the recent chapter, and if Dr. GB is a bit more of a fan of the world government.
What?
I was wondering if we're going deep into now more Egghead, because I think, how do you like with the recent chapter of Egghead, and if you are a bit more fan of the world government or not?
Why?
You know that answer. I'm a huge GM and Marine hater.
I know, that's why I'm asking you.
I'm offended. I was like, no way, this man is okay. No. I'm a huge hater. Every single day, like, as I said, we just were watching Marineford with my mom. Every 2 seconds, I was pausing, explaining to her how shit the Marine are, how like those are just some rats running around. I hate them. I hate every single one of them except for Kube. Bless his heart.
Oh God.
Wait. What about Helmeppo? We gotta
No, it's
sing.
great.
Yeah, Helmeppo is him Leppo. Him Leppo. That's what I call it.
Him Leppo. Honestly, I fell in love with his character because of the live action.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I feel like they did him so great that it was.
My goodness. No, I say cheek friction in peak fiction all the time because of that scene with the teddy bear.
This is fantastic. Oh wait, no, but for real though, I feel like they really nailed it with his character, and I realized how great he was and fun, you know.
It's interesting. The person that was originally streaming, Vex would have been hosting, but Vex is also streaming today because the person who originally was streaming got sick this morning, and it just happens to be the person whose slogan in TLA is "Make the Marines Great Again." So there might have been some foul play going on here. I think, like, yeah, that's wild.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
no, he got I can't go to that stream disease. That's what happened to Fritz.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I took it down. Fine.
That's hilarious.
Wait, if I'm not mistaken, you watched the live action with your mom, right? I think I saw one of your videos where you saw it with your mom. Maybe I'm mistaken.
I think that's the first first YouTube video, which has. No, it's crazy because that was your first YouTube video, according to what I can see, and it's got at like 28K views, which is huge.
Wow.
That is amazing.
Trailer reaction. It got really big for some reason. I got a heart from like Netflix France or something like that. I don't know what.
Big ups. Yeah, what a casual flex.
Like...
But that was great. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm meeting the actor for Mihawk.
Whoa!
He's going to a con in France, so I'm going to be going to a meet and greet.
That's insane. I was just seeing on his TikTok.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I was just seeing on his TikTok. He's very active. He met the voice actor John Gremion, who I actually have a signed displate like metal like poster from. which is
That's
so
awesome.
crazy. And he also put up something that's so precious. And if y'all haven't seen it, y'all gotta go check it out. But his daughter is in his lap, and he's pointing at a Cross Guild poster, and he goes, "Who's that?" And she goes, "Crocodile." And then he's like, "Who's that?" He's like, "Clown." And then he points at Mihawk and is like, "And who's that?" And she goes, "Daddy."
Oh,
That is the
cute.
cutest
I
thing.
love
Oh my
that.
goodness. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it's fantastic.
But that's
I'm
big.
gonna try
Like,
my best. Yeah, I'm gonna try my best to have a fun time with him and not go for my typical Shanks agenda. I will have to find a way to go 20 minutes without.
Oh,
Shanks.
okay.
Wow.
So wait, we
No,
can
no,
spend
no,
we
no.
can spend the 20 minutes here though if you want to get it out of your system.
No. Oh, I should have never brought this up. I'm not about to do a power scaling debate. I'm good.
Yeah,
That's
man.
hilarious.
Out of all of them as well, I would have been like, whoa, if you mentioned an extra, but like you went straight for Mihawk. It's like, phew, I wasn't ready for that. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna give it up for Shanks. Give it up for Shanks for getting rid of useless Captain Mid.
Bro, chill. He's fine. He's got. Yeah. No, it's fine.
No need.
But yeah,
yeah.
Honestly, so with Egghead, now that I think we're everyone's caught up, so we're out of the flashback. How do you feel about Kuma's flashback? That now it seems to be somewhat complete, from what we've seen. Because it's
Who wants to go
What were you
first?
thinking?
Oh, we always give it to the guests first if you wanted to speak on how you're feeling about next chapter and like just post flashback stuff. I could go for a while, but like, yeah, I want to hear what you're saying.
On Kuma and the flashback and all that stuff. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved everything about it. And it just broke my heart. Like, probably almost nothing had as much, even in One Piece. I think it was like, how to say this? Oda had touched on very difficult topics before, but I feel like this was one of the times where he was the most explicit about it. Whether it's things like matters around slavery or, sexual violence and all that kind of stuff. And so it was absolutely horrible to read. And as a very atheist person, I would see Kuma and I look up to him so much, and I'm like, bro, this is it. I started wanting to believe like in him,
Wow.
I'm like, whoa, no, not I'm not being 100%. No, I wouldn't believe in God because of a fictional series, but no, in the sense of
Believe in Nico.
Man, this man has.
Yeah, that's it.
He is the man. You can't make a better human than this.
You could call him D-Man. I mean, it's
D-Man. Exactly. He is D-Man. And he's, I think for a lot of people, he's shoot up to some of their favorites. Being one of their faves. I think everybody can agree on that. Kuma is just through the roof, and it's funny because the person who introduced me to One Piece is my little brother, and he was always since day one a Kuma stan. So seeing him, being right like this was also pretty fun. And,
wow, it must have been emotional for him. Like,
oh yeah, oh my god, the last chapter with the him about to punch Saturn. I heard him screaming across the room. He was so happy.
It is like cool for some of us older like audience to see some of it getting darker. Like we've mentioned the recent anime episode. Like in the manga, it's a dark incident, but when you watch the anime, they really like do show that like it's a very dark incident. But the whole point of what I'm saying is the tone. Like Oda seems free now, like free of Shonen Jump and the editors and stuff like that, and he seems to be able to be like, look, that dude's head just exploded. And I remember when all of us were talking about it when Saturn looked at the guy and his head exploded. So I'm for one, I'm a bit of an edgy, like I prefer edgy stuff as well, like emo stuff, like you said. I'm happy to see some of this shit going down.
To me, it's not
Definitely.
necessarily about it being edgy just for the sake of it. It's just that when you're tackling into certain matters, I feel like you can't really ignore that type of stuff, if that makes any sense. Like in a world
Yeah.
like One Piece, where everything is controlled by a single government, like it is doomed to be about that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really ignore that.
Completely.
Then you can decide to go more or not in depth, but yeah.
Well, I would say it's one of the like skill, like Oda's. One of the highest praises I would give to Oda is like he has this amazing way of doing like uplifting depression and melancholy. You know what I mean? It's really weird. Like it's easier to, like, as you probably know as an artist, to make something dark and treacherous and it connects on an emotional level like that. But Oda somehow has like a sprightly tale, an adventure that also has this undercurrent of just deep like melancholy and like you say, one government and stuff. Yeah, it's that's an art in itself, in my opinion.
Yeah, the amount of like nuance and layering and finesse that especially if we can assume that it's gonna get deeper and darker from this point forward, it's honestly really crazy that Oda is able to touch on some of the more lighthearted and heartwarming and, you know, comical sides of things so well as he has done, you know, for the past 25 years, and then also hit this deep. Because like you were saying, this flashback is like, in my opinion, I think that like the things that we're moving away from and the things that we're moving towards is some of the absolute darkest and like most impactful in a different kind of way things that we've seen in the story. And it's crazy to speculate. Sorry if you guys can hear my nephews and my dog in the background, but it's crazy to speculate just where it will go from here. Because I really do think it's going to get a lot darker. This is just him testing the waters, you know?
Yeah, it's like the doc said about like the demon stuff. Like,
yeah, and they always say like it's always darkest before the dawn. Sorry, go ahead. We know that the dawn of the world is like, you know, going to be a huge, important, pivotal moment in the story. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm a Batman Dark Knight fan too, so I'm down for the quote. Like, don't get me wrong, dude. Yeah, I just think like Doc nailed it really. Like on a deeper level, aside from theory and speculation and stuff like that, we are going into the East. I think, like into the traditional Eastern spirituality side of things, and it's going to be crazy abstract and cool art and stuff like that. So I'm keen for it.
I also love real quick, sorry, I also just love that like we you know, when we ask the question like, do you have any theories, any thoughts about what's coming up next year, just like, nah, I'm riding the wave, like I'm here for it. That is such a surreal take, because we're a lot of us are deep into the theory crafting community, and we kind of like fiend and thrive off of the like, oh, this is what's gonna happen, this is what's gonna happen, and like just like Handsome in the chat going ham on the Gaimon theory and stuff like that. And like it's like there's a thick like a vein of agenda piece that runs through, you know, our community, and it's just so like kind of refreshing for you to see that, you know, you're just like, I'm along for the ride, I'm here for anything. And like I love that. That's a really great answer, you know.
Yeah, but I still, you know, enjoy watching some, you know, some content about that kind of stuff. I don't mind at all. But yeah, I just just to quickly say about Oda's writing. No, just Oda is such a skillful writer. It's always going to be surprising. We're always going to be surprised and amazed by his writing and the way he's able to go about things so gracefully. Again, we're talking about the him making this silly, you know, series, funny, light, and sweet, and then being able to go into those very dark themes without it seeming out of place or disrespectful, you know. And I feel like this is very gracefully done in and we're gonna get into probably darker territories as the story goes. And yeah, I'm sitting back and I'm gonna enjoy the show.
Yeah. And I do want to bring this. I was thinking because you guys talk about the Kuma flashback, and for me is I think I love the chapter Will of Ohara because it's more of an agenda, but I think the chapter where we see the Sabaody point of view of Kuma, and I think that shows the power of Oda's storytelling. It is one of the darkest moments for the Straw Hats. How Luffy was so down, and then when he pivot on the Kuma side, you see so much empathy and apology for doing that to you. But you're not ready and I have to protect you. Like, I'm sorry. That shift is crazy. Like, he changed the scene that's so dark and made it more wholesome. You're realizing he came there as a friend, acting like an enemy.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
So
when the flashback chapters were coming out, that was right at the time where my mom and I were going through Sabaody. So it was absolutely destroying me to have to see Kuma doing all that stuff while seeing all the stuff he went through, you know. That was absolutely terrible, but it was amazing timing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, lines up.
It's crazy how coincidental it could be, like the way that One Piece will just kind of line up with other things in your life and stuff like that. We were talking about it a little bit last night on our stream with Jacoby as well, on Chadmirals. Real quick, I got a shout out to Straw Hat Lucas. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, you know, but the captain of the last arc, say a member for 4 months, actually a lot longer than that, but officially on the YouTube page, I guess. I gifted him that many memberships, but he said, "Love you all, and goated stream, goated community." But he's at work right now. Otherwise, he would have absolutely loved to be a part of this. I know for sure. But yeah, this has been a whole lot of vibes, and I'm definitely feeling it. It's so crazy that you brought up that you were just watching through Sabaody with your mom while the flashback chapters were happening, because that is something that I also did with a friend of mine, was kind of revisit some of the older chapters or some of the older chapters and episodes. Because you know, like we put on the tinfoil straw hat and we got to kind of theory cook and like things like that. And before we actually got the Kuma's version of Sabaody, I was rewatching through it and I was like, we have to get this. This is coming. This has got it. Like, while we were still doing the like 20 plus years back stuff and things like that. And like with the God Valley flashback, I was like, nah, we're getting everything all the way up to this point. And yeah, it hit so ridiculously hard watching through the episode where everything goes down at Sabaody, knowing what we know now. It's wild.
Oui. Yeah, it's a great time for the story.
And also, like, I'm also questioning because, you know, people forget in Solo Bark, Kuma went ahead of time with the Straw Hat to warn Moria about. Like, I'm wondering if the way he phrased the Straw Hat, he meant in a way that Moria will not get rid of them immediately, you know? Like, they'll make some interest. Because there was something about, like, even was appalled by Kuma's statement to the point that he's going to prove him a point that he's scared of no one. Like, I've been wondering if Kuma basically talked Moria into not by, you know, manipulating him in the way he talked to him about them. Like, I'm even guessing that because he went ahead of time in Solo Bark to warn Moria.
Yeah, like the arc does change, like retroactively change a lot of stuff. I was going to ask as well, like Doc, like considering your like poor taste on the Shanks Mihawk situation, what's your favorite arc? Like, or arcs? Is there any that pop out to you that stick out for any particular style?
What does this have to do?
Oh my goodness, what a jab.
Like, giving your political inclination, what is your favorite One Piece arc?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's because there's people in this conversation, there's people in this call who have slightly different tastes. Let's be polite. I'll say different tastes about what the better arcs are and what aren't the better arcs. So I'm basically a bit concerned that you're like a Thriller Bark fan or something like that.
Oh,
basically.
whoa.
Thriller Bark.
Hey, whoa,
What?
whoa. Thriller Bark is top 3. We have to give it the respect. I was holding back this
Hold
entire
on,
time,
what?
and Cube was the one who brought up Thriller Bark. I put it in the chat. I was like,
No.
I wasn't the one. Thriller Bark
The
is
chef's
peak.
hat doesn't look so good now, does it? Doc?
Peak.
No.
Whoa.
No, are you insane?
No, it is. Oh my goodness. I could cook.
Absalom.
Okay, that's the
No.
only negative thing. But the Straw Hats versus Oars, and then we have Ryuma. We have Nothing Happen. Kuma's introduction. It is so ridiculous the amount of peak things that happen.
Yeah.
Luffy shoving the zombie back into the ground, asking every other zombie to see. You laugh too, but seeing like literally. Oh my goodness, it is insane. He's just mad because I like Dressrosa, so he's coming for Thriller Bark. It's like a Den with his agenda piece. Like it's crazy.
No, I don't think Thriller Bark is terrible, even though it's kind of drawn a bit too long in the anime, in my opinion, since it's the most recent thing I've interacted with. But no, I don't think it's terrible. But yeah, the best things happening at Thriller Bark, in my opinion, are just the things related to Kuma and all that stuff.
It's literally it's exactly what we needed in the story in between Eni's Lobby and Saba Odi for us to not be entirely crushed. It's a breath of fresh air. The comedy is so hilarious. The spooky vibes are something that I feel like a lot of people in our generation really vibe with and things like that. It's Thriller Bark
the aesthetic is definitely
it's amazing. Usopp versus Perona is peak. It's absolutely hilarious. Like I love so much of Thriller Bark, but we don't talk about Absalom or Sanji in that arc.
You're fighting
no,
very,
we don't need to talk about.
I respect that. But what about your preferred arcs? Is there any that stand up the top like Drum Kingdom should be?
I've never tried to make a top, but hold on. Within my favorites, they would be obviously Impel Down, Marineford. I mean, the entire kind of like. This entire saga is obviously peak, but I think everybody agrees on this. I think reading-wise, for my first time reading, I had kind of the best experience around Whole Cake and Wanakuni. That was really great. I really liked that. And Skypiea actually kind of slaps. I'm not gonna lie.
It does.
Skypiea I speak. Jaya, amazing.
Oh, Jaya is so good. Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a Nami stan, so Arlong Park is always going to be.
I think we're all.
As time goes on, Arlong Park just matures and matures. It's like a solid wine.
I think we're all Nami stans here, so you're in good company.
She's my second favorite character, actually. So.
Who's your first?
Luffy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say Shanks for a second. Like, I shouldn't have asked.
No, it's Luffy. It's Luffy. I started off as a Sanji fan. Then he disappointed me. I started hating him, and now I'm slowly reconciling with the idea of Sanji, and I love Luffy so much for what he represents.
I love Sanji so much for his full character arc, but there are some of the lowest lows from any actual Straw Hat, but I love Sanji, and I know Josh is fuming over here, like, because that's like his boy. He freaking loves Sanji.
I agree. This is also why I enjoyed Whole Cake Island so much, because actually, when I was reading One Piece for the first time, I stopped for over a year around Dressrosa because it was so long, and I was really invested. And I'm sorry for the Dressrosa stands, but I just have a terrible attention span, and so I got bored. I stopped for like over a year. I was like, I'm never going back to the series. This is trash. And and then my brother spoiled me about the Gear 5, and I was like, I'm taking back this series. This is the best thing I've ever read. And then anyways, Whole Cake Islands and Wanakuni was
real quick. Real quick, I got a shout out to Mr. Bushido56 with a €2 super chat. He said, Mihawk used to be a red hair pirate ? I put in the chat as well. Hidden Island made a theory about that. Like, I think it was about a year ago, talking about it pretty in depth. And I actually really vibe with I like the theory. I'm not fully on board with it though.
I like it.
Yeah, it has a lot of reasoning behind it, but I don't know if I'm fully believing it, but I do like the theory. It's a really solid video. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. I think it's called like the greatest Mihawk theory of all time, because Hidden changed all of the titles to his videos to be really clickbaity for the memes, and it's hilarious. But definitely go check it out, Mr. Bushido. There's a lot to chew on there, and I think you'd really like it. But to speak on Dressrosa, I'm so sorry, but Dressrosa is exactly what we needed post time skip. It gave us the exact scope of how big the new world really was, and where the ceiling and the floor were, and exactly what it's literally exactly what we needed. So in Punk Hazard, we got a small taste, and I didn't like Punk Hazard a lot the first time I watched it, and then I reread it and rewatched it, and it is very, very solid. It holds up. Same feeling about Fishman Island. There was so much that I felt like Oda was holding back in those two arcs to introduce us into the new world and the post time skip and things like that. But when we get to Dressrosa, the gloves completely came off. We got Fujitora, we got Doflamingo, we got Sabo, we got so many wonderful moments. The Tontada tribe, we get like Law flexing with the Gamma Knife. We get to see Gear 4 in action, which Luffy had been keeping holstered since back on Ruskaina. Or like, this was exactly what we needed to set the tone.
Dofi is a big boy. Like, I'm not gonna get it twisted. Dofi is worth the arc, you know. Like, so yeah, I do feel it's got like tons in there. It's just so long.
But looking at it from a story,
I'm not even a Dressrosa hater. Like, retrospectively, there's so many great things. There's like one of the best antagonists in there, as you said, Fujitora, and so many great things happen. I'm not even a hater. I just my attention span is terrible, and at the time, I guess I was not vibing with it enough, so I stopped for like over a year.
It was definitely a lot, especially in the anime, because they added in some fluff parts and things like that. I wouldn't say filler. There's no, but there is a little bit of like fluff and padding and things like that. But in it is, I honestly love it. So ridiculous. It's in my top 3. Like, honestly, Thriller Bark and Dressrosa are 2 of my top 3 arcs, and it's a time
so like
pivotal.
Oh, sorry, Vex. Sorry.
No, I'll just say it's so pivotal. That's like it's like the story literally would not be the same without pretty much everything that we had there.
Like, and by the time the story's finished, it probably will be like a cooler arc in itself as well. Like, because we'll have more context to it. But I personally, I remember really clearly, like at the time of Whole Cake, particularly about midway through, that's when there was this. From what I saw, there was lots of people dropping One Piece or coming back into One Piece because of the sort of Dressrosa controversy. There was a load of breaks as well. So Whole Cake for me and the beginning of Wano was like people, not many people like were loving it like I was at the time. I was like, this is wild, like this is crazy, it's sick, like real peak One Piece in my opinion. But yeah, I think a lot of people didn't really love Whole Cake the way that we do.
Yeah. I binged it, so I really need to rewatch it, because I feel like some of my retention from Whole Cake, like I watched it so fast, like so ridiculously fast. Yeah, so I need to rewatch it, or I need to I need to read it, because I've only read certain parts of it, because I was anime only for a really long time, and everything that I've done in the manga has been going back and rereading, except obviously to the point where I'm at now, where I'm current in the manga. So like, but I caught up in Wano, so I didn't really read much of Whole Cake at all. So that's what I think, because I understand some crazy great moments happen there, and I want to give it the credit that I feel like it definitely deserves. But I just my retention of it has been so little, so I need to revisit it.
You know me, I've always said that I think, well, right now Egghead is my #1 arc, but I said there's no arc for me in post time skip that is a failure, except the arc with discounted Arlong. Sorry, there's no way in hell I can accept Fishman Island as a good arc.
Oh my goodness. It's a good arc in anime, but One Piece is built different.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wait, Kube is our resident celestial dragon, so you're hearing a little bit of that coming out, you know. Like,
no, I'm sorry. I'll say this.
I'm not sure if all the TLA know, but like Kube just pulled his first OPTCG cards, and he got a Celestial Dragon in there.
Basically, I'm a big fan of Revolution Army, but I do like the joke with Celestial Dragons. And I pulled because I had two small packs, right? One pack had a Revolution Army member. One had St. Carlos's father. So I'm telling you, I was dead. I said, my God.
My God.
But I'll say this. For me, Fishman Island, I love the flashback of Fisher Tiger. You could have added that in his fight with Who's Who. I'm sorry. And other than the Joy Boy stuff, I'm sorry. Like, a lot of stuff in Fishman Island was long. Hody Jones, even Van Decken was more of a villain for me than Hody Jones, and I didn't feel the threat with Hody Jones. That's my big problem. Like, there was not enough for Hody Jones. I feel like Oda was going deep into racism with him, but then for no reason. And then suddenly it's the fight, and he only had Luffy and Zoro had obstacles. They didn't have those obstacles. Hody Jones would have been sleeping after episode 2.
Yeah, but I like that though, is that there was the nuance. It was more than just like Jinbei was literally telling Luffy, you can't just punch through this bad guy. Yeah. There's more to it, and it mirrored a lot of actual real world issues. And so like I will say, as a actual arc in anime, very good. As a One Piece arc, because One Piece is built completely different, it's not anywhere near my top. In fact, it is much closer to the bottom. But to say that it's a bad One Piece arc is not really a bad thing, because One Piece is like most of the time completely above average, except for Syrup Village.
So guys, we have the appearance of the captain himself, Straw Hat Lucas. What's up, Lucas?
Just came on to say hi to GB. Stream has been great so far, but I will not stand for this slander on Fishman Island, Cube. I am at work. I'm in the break room locked down right now, just to tell you, how dare you disrespect the royalty of Fishman Island? Shirahoshi, her brothers, what they went through with their mother. Oh. No,
yeah.
Those who aren't seeing the screen,
running around trying to find him right now, just to be able to talk to Cube.
Lucas, tomorrow.
For those who can't see the call, Lucas's picture is him topless, blue, with the sun, with Jinbei's tattoo. It's really weird. Like,
oh, this is amazing.
That's hilarious.
So Lucas, if you want, we can settle this down tomorrow at sundown at Punk Hazard. We get our own 10 days fight. And we'll settle it if you want.
Oh, yeah, we will. I'm gonna go. I literally just hopped in here to bust Cube and balls.
He's off to go
Somebody needs to. Also, before we get right back into it, we got another €5 super chat from Mr. Bushido56 saying, Whole Cake Island was the best. Katakuri, Sanji backstory, Sulong Carrot, no Zoro. It had everything. P.S. is Katakuri going at that is wild.
Zoro haters, they're so funny.
But he said, P.S. is Katakuri going after Blackbeard to get pudding back. Spicy, very spicy. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
Katakuri goes for pudding.
I think he would go for any of his siblings except for Flampe, because we all hate Flampe, right?
No, dude, I'm sorry. I'll say this, right? I've always hated Orochi and Wano, but now Saturn is taking the cake. But I've always said, if there's a death sentence for Saturn, if Flampe is in that same trial and also getting a death sentence, I won't lose sleep over it.
You're insane.
Yeah.
I mean, Charlo's.
That's gotta be misogynist, bro. You're collecting the titles right now. What is happening?
Yeah, man.
Oh my goodness.
I am very vocal as a One Piece fan, so I take those titles. You know, if I have to be considered as the worst generation in terms of content creators, I'll take it. You know. However, I'll say this: my favorite Big Mom Pirate member. People think it's Katakuri. For me, it's what's her name again? The sister, Branch, I think.
Brulee. It's Brulee. Luffy brained over here. Luffy calls her Branch.
Okay. That's why I keep. Yeah, that's why I forgot. It's been a while. I'm sorry. For me, that backstory, that Scar. I'm sorry. You know, she really won my heart.
Yeah.
What was it? Galette is her. That's I think that's yeah. She's my favorite of the Big Mom family. I won't elaborate.
Cool.
Look her up. She's great. Smoothie is not really my style. I can't really vibe with Smoothie too much. Like the William of Dreams in the chat. But I don't know. I loved like Katakuri's, like the way that all of that played out. I thought that was the part of Whole Cake Island that I've held closest to my chest. Like as far as like I've forgotten little moments and things like that. But Katakuri is absolutely peak, and I really do hope that he does somehow become more significant again, because we saw him in the cover stories. You know, doing his hardest and punching the crap out of his brother because of Caesar's, you know, gas or whatever. Like, but I don't know. Like, for one, are they gonna do that in the anime? I don't think so. And for two, like obviously with the pudding, you know, connection and things like that, I think it's really. I hope that it's obvious that he's coming back, but Oda might just be pulling the wool over our eyes, and we might not actually get that. But I really hope so.
I mean, 19 years ago, Jin promised to come back. We're still waiting for Jin, so you know.
Bro.
Oh, the son of Kaido, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
But I will say something to defend Whole Cake, and I do believe in post time skip, other than Wano and Egghead, it was the best exposition to show some others than the regular Straw Hat. Like I mean, like Luffy, well, Zoro and Sanji were always the ones at one point always shown a bit more. I did like Whole Cake Brook's moment, like Brook's time to shine. You had a moment of Jinbei, you know, showing his how far he's willing to go for Luffy. I did like Whole Cake for those, you know. I think it's one of the arcs I really like for the other Straw Hats.
Yeah,
compared to the other
I think
skip.
it like touches hugely on the spiritual stuff as well, like the direction. Like this, it's just wild, man. Like I remember first seeing, I was like, wait, so did she just eat the children? And like looking at the previous page and like the next page and being like, oh,
this moment was insane.
My stomach twisted. Like I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like I had to pause it because I wasn't reading. I wasn't flipping pages or checking out panels. I was watching the anime, and I literally paused it and I asked my brother, who was like kind of like guiding me through One Piece at the time. I was like, did that just happen? And he just shrugs.
Yeah, exactly.
It was crazy.
It was. I love Big Mom. I gotta say, Big Mom, I think, was not done justice in the sense of the position that she had, because she was. Yeah, it was not the best, but I just love her character so much, and
she's got more to give. She's got more to give. We need more Carmel. I need Carmel in my life.
Yeah, I agree though. I think Big Mom was such a compelling character, and all the way leading up into part 2 of Wano, I was expecting such big things. And then we got like the Olin stuff, which some people didn't like the amnesia. I thought it was really interesting and could have led into a lot of more things. But then we got Roof Peace, and although it was cool fights and it was cool like dialogue and trash talk and stuff like that, I thought we were going to get so much more from her, and I'm fully convinced she will be coming back. She's not gone. Sorry, go ahead, Cube.
I feel like out of the two, she's definitely more likely to come back for sure.
For sure.
And also, like, don't forget, I always tell people that's how she's gonna come back, and it's fitting right in the story. After Luffy, defeated her in Whole Cake Island, and Big News Morgan made that article where he already called him the fifth emperor of the sea. Question mark. She said, "Big Mom, I'm going after Straw Hat, and then I'm going after Big News Morgan." And what do we get now? Big News Morgan. We kind of know where he's with who is going to come back to the story. So, but my thing is, I'm gonna say this about Whole Cake, and this is the eating kids thing is shocking. The thing that shocked me the most is the beginning of this arc when that flashback when you found out that Big Mom as a child was too much for the giants in Elbaf, and I was saying, dude, what? After all the teas we got of Elbaf and those giants, I said, what? As a child, she was too much for them. Natural born disaster. I was like, okay, that's a Yonko. I see that. That's a Yonko.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like pure force of nature. I think it was. Yeah, it was. I agree. I
know something that
she was born as a natural born disaster. That's like even Sengoku mentioned. It's a title. Like, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I know something that also stuck out to you about the beginning of that flashback, Cube, is why in the world was Strusen, at Elbaf in the first place to see all of that go down? Like,
yeah,
or no, it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been Elbaf, would it? Because they took her at that point. They had already taken her off of Elbaf, but still, why was he in that area in the first place? You know?
I'll tell you the whole discussion. You know, Dedan and I were Dedan was working on a Mother Caramel thing, and at one point we were just talking to both of us, and we said, "Wait a minute, the guy was all alone. What is he doing at that? Even if it's not Elbaf, the guy's in an area where now we're wondering, like we're being told, it is that chaotic. Like even Shanks' ally says that we're able to be there because Shanks protects from everything, and the guy was alone there, just waiting. You know, like dude was just calmly like going through the sea. So yeah, that part always like, I wish we might get to throw some like stuff in the past, but I don't think so.
I don't think we.
Why was he there?
I don't need that.
Won't get it.
I don't need that, but I see where your head's at though.
Yeah. Hey man, dude was calmly in the worst part of the New World, just cutting trees into food.
But I mean, the New World. Oh, go ahead.
Somebody in the chat asked, when are we going to a waifu tier list? Waifu tier
that's
list.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh is in the chat. Like that is I'm down to do a waifu tier list whenever. We already did a husbando tier list and it went over pretty well.
We promised the waifu tier list months ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a busy couple of months, but I'm down to do a waifu tier list. We like I can't set it up right this second, but we can get one done pretty soon.
I gotta watch the husbando one.
Oh, it's from like 6 months ago now, I think. Like it was one of the first actual streams I was like I was host on for TLA back when I first got on board. Also, really quick, wanted to shout out to another €2 from Mr. Bushido 56 said Geen is on Shanks's ship. That's crazy. No, I'm sorry. Geen is never coming back, in my opinion. I love the memes, but Geen is. Yeah. Geen is he's still washing dishes at Baratier trying to pay off his debts to Zeph, in my opinion. Like
we're gonna see him back when we're gonna be doing the world tour again. Maybe.
Yeah. Like, but if they look at all the people they showed with like the aftermath of Lelucia and stuff like that, they show, and like look at all the people that they showed when they were like, we've gotten so many different like what is the rest of the world doing like montage moments. He hasn't been in any of them, bro. Like I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's not coming back, bro. I'm sorry. Like,
you know what, Vex? I agree with you, and I'll say this: the only way that people like Jin, because I've said that that's the point of that faction. It's good if at one point we get Jin. It might be the thing that bothers.
Oh, you're cutting out a little bit.
With him. Oh yeah, I was saying
the thing that bothers you.
Yeah, I said the problem with Jin because I could see Cross Guild bringing Luffy's greatest hits, stuff like that. For Arlong, those kind of stuff. The problem with Jin is he hasn't been mentioned or even seen. He is completely disappeared. At least Arlong, we're getting some Arlong's name coming back time and time again. So it could be a possibility at one point that he'll just reappear in the story. But Jin, yeah, I don't think so.
You know, shout out to brother Ship hopping in the chat. Welcome. But yeah, I just. I don't even need Arlong or Don Krieg or any I don't need any of that kind of going on, especially because the East Blue, they did such a huge amount of world building to put boundaries in between the East Blue and Paradise, and then the boundaries even between Paradise and the New World. It's going to be absolutely crazy, and they would literally have to move mountains to make it make sense, in my opinion. For some of the more pivotal characters from the East Blue saga to be important nowadays. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely ways where it can happen. I don't see it really. I don't see Oda going over, bending over backwards, going out of his way to make stuff like that happen.
No, I think it's kind of complicated, and people underestimate how coherent Oda is with his power scaling, and even making some people like Crocodile come back was already complicated enough. I feel like we're definitely not going to have characters from the East Blue coming back like this.
I think from Paradise, the only way that it makes sense for me, and this is a theory that I've been on for a long time, is we saw the water levels rising in the aftermath of what happened from the Lelucia event. and it specifically showed us Iceberg and Water 7. And Water 7 was already something that was being destroyed constantly by the rising water levels. They had to keep building up on top of the civilizations that were sinking, like Venice, you know, in IRL terms and things like that. So if the Lucia effect, like across the globe, had gotten to the point where, because Iceberg's main dream was he wants to turn all of Water 7 into a ship, like Thriller Bark. Everything comes back to Thriller Bark. Sorry, but if Water 7 were to be mobile, that would be like the coolest thing, is if he picked up like a whole bunch of Grand Fleet members along the way and Water 7 rode into the New World or something like that. That would be super cool. But that's just headcanon of mine. I don't really see even Paradise people becoming important in the New World other than that.
Yeah, and yeah, I do agree on that. I was gonna do it. I had a brain fart. Yeah, I agree on that point. I was gonna say something else with it, but yeah, no. The only thing that makes sense is if, like I already said, it is the one thing with Arlong. I guess sense is Arlong. He hated humans like Fisher Tiger. He had that distaste, but never lived as a slave. Like, main thing is, like you said, it has to be part of the narrative. Just not dropping the character because you want to bring them back. It's not Naruto, you know.
Well, I think like Vex sort of mentioned the mobile Water 7. Like, it's interesting because we see sort of this idea of, like, they said it's been rebuilt on top of each other multiple times, and we've seen it with Wano where they build above the water, and the water seems to be the threat. In English, by the way, that's water for those who don't understand.
A bottle of water.
The water, the floods, let's say floods, the floods rise, and as the floods rise, the people of the world seem to just keep building above the floods. So yeah, I think like the Flood 7 or Water 7 is a really good, like, it's going to be super crucial, super significant, man. I think it's important.
That is hilarious.
Also, yeah, that was what I was going to say. That, and I'm pretty sure with the way they did Water 7, from when I did a reread recently, I'm pretty sure there's some inspiration from Venice from Water 7. You know?
Oh, absolutely, completely.
Yeah. With the Cypher Bowl mask being introduced there, water based off Venetian mask. So yeah, that was what I was going to bring up. So yeah, but yeah, it's like you know.
Bro, the Will of Dream said H2O7 is crazy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this guy knows.
Oh, that's my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have a question actually, and this is for everyone. You know, you could take a time. If there was one character in One Piece, more like a side character, you don't know how he'd come back to the story. You would love him to be involved, like in the next arc. Which character would it be? Oh,
I want to answer for Handsome, who's not in the chat anymore, who had to dip out. But I know Handsome would say Gaimon.
Gaimon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can respect that answer. I can absolutely respect that answer. My answer is different, but yeah, go ahead, Den. I thought you were about to spit.
Yeah, I think all of our answers are probably the same, Doc included. It's who's who, right? Like, if you want to see someone come back.
Bro, no. Josh goes, what?
You can see where he is.
I'm sorry, who? No, but...
Ouch. Very nasty.
For me, it's Rayleigh. It's always Rayleigh. Everything is like I need Rayleigh to be
everything is Rayleigh.
Yeah, no, he is literally my #1 character in the entire series. There is so much more that he's still. Oh yeah, he was not rated in S tier husbandos because I did not have the final say. I put him in S tier. I put him in S tier. They moved him down, but it's fine. It's whatever. But no, like Rayleigh still has so much. You got to check out the stream. I don't want to spoil it too much, but I think you won't be disappointed by the S tiers.
But I'll take that out of S tier.
He got you there.
But it's crazy in my opinion the amount of relevance that Rayleigh could have at literally any given moment in this story. And he hasn't. Oda introduced this person who is too crucial, too pivotal, and we like I would watch an entire series that's just Rayleigh and his whole backstory and things like
Rayleigh.
Exactly.
Ray piece. No, I don't know, but like
Ray
but
No,
that
I do
is
agree, but I think this
I
is why. I think this is exactly why he's not going to come back.
I agree, but in magical fantasy
Oda's
land,
insistence on exactly. But Oda's insistence on the kind of like the split between the new generation and the older one and whatever, and Luffy not wanting to know anything about what he knows, etc. But yeah, for me that would be I think Katakuri, but he's kind of bound to come back, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good safe answer. I really like that.
Silver
Piece. Silver Piece would be the perfect name. The Will of Dreams and I have the same brain cell. That's crazy. But yeah, I agree with what you said, Doc, is like, I think because Rayleigh is somebody who could provide that much is exactly why he's not going to come back, except for like, we got the snippet of him like bluffing, like the flex bluff in front of Blackbeard. I don't think we're going to get anything more than those like little shallow encounters with him.
Hold on. There's a character I need to name because this is very relevant given your profile picture. Do you think the man is going to come back? Rox?
I don't. I know a lot of people do. I I don't.
And you don't.
There's a possibility.
There's
a possibility. You
have a profile picture.
You
were my friend.
No, I love the theories.
Okay.
But so the thing is like
he's just trying to not reveal his own identity.
Oh my goodness!
His own turn to the story.
Well, that's the thing is a lot of people believed whenever Oda had mentioned in his Jump Festa message a couple years back, like that the lurking legend will appear. A lot of people believed the lurking legend was Rox himself, and I'm not of that belief. Although I did, use that's my handle on all like socials that I'm on is the lurking legend. But I use this as my the twerking legend. But I use this as my PFP. But I don't actually believe that Rox is the lurking legend. That Oda had hinted at, all those years ago. But video on that, in the works right now that I'll put out on my channel sometime in 2024, I promise. So I can't speak too much on it.
So for my answer, and it's actually, it's a two-way answer. My first answer would obviously be Rebecca. Heroes, it won't be. I do feel like I really like Rebecca's story, and I think that coming back, not as a power, but just in terms of like a royalty, because I feel like we don't have enough. We have enough allies as fighters. We got with the thing, and I do feel like we've already got Vivi, but it would be nice for Luffy to have more and more like on the royalty side with Momo, and I think Rebecca could be one of them. However, after Wano, that character has to come back at least in a flashback because it bothered me how much we didn't get anything on his backstory, which we understand was connection with Mads, and that's Queen. Like for me, I do need to get that Mads flashback because the lack of exposition of Queen and his backstory with how relevant it is in the past really bothered me.
Yeah, like, didn't we see like Shinobu who got like drained by like the Green Bull's fruit, like, and she was like super fit now, like Queen got the same treatment, and his whole mantra the whole time it was like, yo, if I were skinnier, you guys would love me too much. I need to see like Beefcake Queen. Like I need it,
I think we do need it. It wouldn't be One Piece without it. It's like the game ball of Game of Thrones.
Absolutely love that. Huge shout out to Elson Jackington in the chat. Goes way back with TLA, further than I do even. He said Miss Golden Week, hashtag agenda piece.
Yeah, this guy is a Golden Week #1 Golden Week fan, and I'm glad that someone brought it up because she's a legend. I'm curious. Well, we brought up Vivi. Who is best girl in your opinion, Doc, and why is it Vivi?
Nami.
As you can tell, I'm projecting a lot of my stuff.
Yeah, you don't have an opinion at all on the matter.
Yeah.
But I think we already agreed. Like, didn't Doc said Nami was like your #2 favorite character, so I'm sure it's Nami.
Exactly, yeah.
But if we put Nami at 0, who would you put as 1? You know what I mean? If you can't choose Nami, who would you choose?
Damn, that's a lot to think about.
I know, right?
That's a lot of characters. It's only about 600 characters to go
Nah,
through.
and it's
Yeah, exactly.
it's either Reiju or Stussy or Perona. You know, it's got to be like
Stussy's right.
What?
Robin.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Boa, maybe. That's I'm giving too close.
Ooh.
she kicks puppies.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I don't give a fuck about puppies. Are you kidding me?
Bro, that's insane. That's insane, bro. Oh my goodness.
There's an achievement on a game I was talking about today. It's an old game, and it's the only achievement that my friend doesn't have, and it involves kicking the dog companion. So we might have to bring in your assistance, Doc, because yeah, we need that cold
We
heart.
need help.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my goodness.
That's
But
a good
I don't know.
Reiju,
I really liked Okiku. Even
solid
if we
pick.
didn't see much of her. Yeah. I don't know. They're pretty much all solid.
Love keeping.
You know what? So in terms of obviously my favorite, my waifu is Nami. But if I have to go and I think of Nami, my favorite female character, just how they were written, might be odd. I'm a huge fan of Dadan. I just like her as a mother towards Luffy, Ace, and Sabo.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the only one. She's the only one who put business to Garp when he came back, like saying, "You fucked up. I'm not letting you come back without reminding you how fucked up you did.
Oh
How
yeah.
much you fucked up." So
That was an insanely heavy moment. Absolutely.
That's a big drop.
And then we got a shout out to Ivankov though, if we're talking about waifus.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Queen.
Waifus to waifus. The One Piece
Yes.
theorists above them all. Yeah.
Inazuma, female, Inazuma and his female.
Oh, we could say
it's
female
If we
law.
talk about the female forms, law, oh my
Yeah,
god.
absolutely.
Let's not even bring that up.
Oh my goodness. When that
Wait,
gets
I'm
I'm not gonna say what in what kind of mindset Oda was when he was doing this chapter, but I know exactly what kind of mindset he was in.
When that gets animated,
I'm not gonna say anything.
when that gets animated,
Oh my lord.
wow. Oh man.
Lord. Oh man.
One of
This
my
is
most
bad.
anticipated episodes in Egghead upcoming, I think. Like, that's crazy.
Mhm.
This was bad, just overall for the community, because Law as himself, as a man, he's already turning guys gay. He has so many fans. This is terrible. But now him as a girl, that went overboard. That was crazy.
Yeah. They've got no chance to enjoy that.
This is just like no. They have to give it in. This is the end.
It's
Oh, it was
hilarious
just
because
like, yeah.
Law is
I can't
actually
anymore.
Law is actually my second favorite character in the entire series. Which
There you
like
go.
this was such a weird moment for me. I was just like, what is happening right now? But I don't know, it's hilarious. It's by far one of the moments that I think anime onlys are gonna absolutely lose it when they get to that point. Like man, I did also want to maybe ask of all of Egghead so far that we've read, I know you said you're not big on the anime or anything like that, but you watched like the Gear 5 episode. Is there any standout moments that are to come in Egghead that you think you would be like, oh, that's an episode I have to watch? Like the most anticipated things that you want to see maybe animated.
Oh shit. I don't really know. Maybe I'm gonna wait for everybody else's answer so I can think about it a little bit.
I mean, for me, it's got to be like Luffy versus Kizaru, because the panels did not do it justice. I've been talking about this like since it came out. Like the panels did not do it the justice that I feel like the animation will. That's very classic for manga versus anime. Fights are just typically done a little bit better in anime because of the medium that it is versus manga. Whereas manga does a lot better at like expositing information and stuff like that. But I think that Luffy versus Kizaru is probably going to break the internet.
Really?
in my
That
opinion,
much?
yes, absolutely. I think
That's crazy. To me that wasn't even that big of a deal. I don't know. I think okay. Saturn's appearance when he's gonna just appear. I just want to see how they build up the atmosphere, because that was already really well done in the manga, but the pentagram, like the circle appearing and whatnot. I really want to see how they build up the atmosphere. And since they went with a softer, more pastel like art style and whatnot, I want to see how they shift the tone and the colors.
I think the contrast is going to be huge there, and like you really do gotta check out the latest episode that just dropped, because it's covering the, like, before they actually set foot on Egghead, like the Lelucia events. So seeing that animated you need to see it, and the delicate like thing. I don't want to spoil it. Like I mean, you know what's gonna happen, but like I don't want to like spoil the experience for you. But the attention to detail with the little flashes to Emu, and then flashing to the actual island and things like that, and the actual moment itself where impact hits and things like it is absolutely devastating. The impact is crazy. It's unlike anything I feel like we got in the panels, which was huge, but it was one panel. It was one panel, but this was like a full sequence, and the full build up, the music, the color scheming, the entire vibe was insane. And I feel like, yes, what you said about Saturn, it will be a lot more of that as well, where they just completely break the mold as far as some of the most tense moments in all of anime. Like, this was so ridiculously menacing. I really, you gotta check it out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So for my answer, 2 words: Galaxy Impact. And we've got to see that. We've got to see.
I gotta see Honesty Impact. Are you kidding me?
Honestly, yeah. Like for me, the Hashinosu stuff has to be animated, because I feel like that will be amazing.
Yeah, that'll be.
Just keep over
it. What would you say, Josh, as far as your most anticipated like moment to get animated?
I mean, to see Egghead come to life in the anime. That's what I want to see. All the technology, all the holograms, everything.
So like, yeah, the Atlas introduction was where we got to see a lot about like the holograms and the food machine and stuff like that. So like that would be like a really big moment for like, I guess, the technology flexing. Was like all in the build up, like the whole whodunit before we get the York reveal. So yeah, I'm really excited about that as well. And like Bonnie with the lightsaber and them explaining how the boots work and the island aircon is going to be like a really fun like intro to the arc, I think. Just getting to know the satellites and things like that. Den, did you have any standout moments that you were thinking you really, really, really can't wait to see animated?
I would have to say the Saturn stuff I just cannot wait for, basically.
Yeah, I'm amazed you didn't mention Shaka. Like, I'm amazed you didn't mention Shaka just now.
Firstly, I don't want to get us kicked from the platform, and secondly, I'm going to keep quiet. I'm going to keep quiet about Shaka for a couple months, because I still,
what is
I'm
happening?
not just coping. I just think Shaka basically there has to be more going on with Shaka, because otherwise he's the worst written character of all time, and the majority of his input was beep, beep, beep. And that makes me so angry, unless there is more. And now his head's been blown up, and it was just like, okay, well, there's something going on here. So
yeah, I agree. I agree as well. I really loved his character design when we first saw him, and I was really waiting for a lot to happen with his character. But yeah, so far it's a little bit disappointing.
Like letting the Straw Hats down and like making bad decisions and stuff. And like if he takes his mask off and it's Oda, like we finally get to see Oda's real face, it would be worth it, you know. But other than that,
crazy. Yeah, and I mean that panel was insane. Sorry, go ahead, Kube.
I was going to say the one thing for Deaden is I did say to him that, well, you know, I understand his agenda, and I'll say this: the York plan is very Doflamingo-like on how he became a Shishibukai, and the way Shaka died is exactly how Doflamingo killed his father. So I do feel like those Doflamingo inspiration, and I'm not mistaken, but the time that they went to Marijoa seems to be around the same time, because we saw some of the fruits where Doflamingo's crew got arrested. So I do feel like there is something to it. Like, I don't believe it's a open and shut case. with the whole York betrayal. I think there's something more to it.
That
But that's what I
is,
was gonna say.
yeah, there has to be some more, and like that's my thing as well.
Yeah.
Is if they can, like post Wano felt pretty rushed in the panels and things like that, but I think that the anime gave it a little bit more like time and attention to detail to make it seem like a smoother transition from arc to arc and things like that. And so they did, I feel like the anime did improve upon what we had for post Wano. And I really, really, really hope that the anime also improves upon the whole York reveal thing, because that was by far the lowest point in Egghead so far for me. It's literally the only chapter that I wouldn't say is at least an 8.5 out of 10. Like, and that's crazy saying that, because so much of this I would have said was a 10 if Oda didn't redefine what a 10 actually is so much in this arc. But it's all really, really great. It is all like B+ to A+ to S material, like a straight knocking it out of the park, except for that one chapter. Really did not like it, in my opinion. So I hope the anime does it better. I really do.
Yeah, it's weird for me. It's very weird. And then you get the defeat of most of the satellites off panel. You know, it's during that time, so we still don't know what happened. It's very weird.
Yeah, I think the shadow that like we saw in the monitor, I think that'll be interesting when it gets animated, if there's a little bit more context to that and detail to that panel being animated. It'd be really interesting, because there's a lot of theories that have been cooking about like what that shadow was, and specifically just the Shaka scene. Like, I won't get too graphic with it or anything like, but that was like my jaw was on the floor. I was like, literally, I'm like, whoa,
Yeah,
am I reading One Piece? This was like, it had like an almost visceral reaction from me. I was just like, this is crazy. This is insane.
Mm-hmm. Kind of makes me think of, that's why this is why I do like that and keep saying this. I feel like it seems that York was just the obvious one, but it could be, I always said it. What if one is corrupted? What if all of them are corrupted? Like, also that they could be like all of them, and they just gave the usual suspect. You know what I mean? The one you're expecting. The only one who's not on camera, because the only thing it does is poop, eat, and sleep for everyone. So it makes sense that it had time to betray. You know what I mean? Like, it is the obvious, if you think about it. Like, if you look at it, well, York is the one who has the most time, so he could. York is the easiest to be a traitor. Then we get York, you know, with no explanation. Yeah, I find it very weird, you know, and the excuse is so dumb. Oh, I want to become a celestial dragon.
I just thought it was like, I mean, I could get behind the reasoning if there was just more breadcrumbs to lead to that, but it just felt so out of left field, especially after actually getting paralyzed or petrified. I'm sorry, actually getting petrified by Snake. And then we were just like, it's like a fake out all along. I'm like, no, this could have been done with like I've come to expect a lot more like nuance from Oda's style. That felt like one of the weakest reveals in all of One Piece for such great setup. Like the whole whodunit, them dropping like flies, and like it was such a cool vibe to open up the arc with. Was we had all of this new information and all of these cool characters and this great cast, and then getting them, you know, taken away from us, and the whole like whodunit vibe and like the murder mystery. Sorry, I said the word, but it was so cool. Such a great build up to get to that point. It just felt so, I don't know, anticlimactic. If the anime adds more to it contextually to provide to the reveal, I'm not mad at the reveal. I'm just mad at the lack of setup for the actual reveal. Like the reasoning and everything like that, it could be cool. It's just not the way that it is right now. So I'm hoping that there's more added to it.
Yeah, I will, like, I've got some background notes, so I'm having to jump in and out, but I will jump on that because, like, I said it in the video I made about Shaka. There's some hints towards all of them, and each one would have been a really interesting reveal. But in the video, the one I didn't cover was York, where I, like, explicitly stated, there's just no need to, because no one wants it to be York. So, and then boom, it was York, and it was the one that I chose to, you know, that like no one wanted, and so that's more reason to make me think, you know, that someone else is involved. Also, Shaka had that weird conversation on the phone with Dragon. We've got this weird shadow. Like, what's that shadow got to do with York? And
yeah, it's also not. It goes deeper. The call. You look. The official will even say he talked about himself. He was saying, "I'm gonna die today." Of all people, like he didn't say like we're in danger, stuff like that, or there's a big danger. He said, "Well, next time you might find out. Next time, I will be dead." Which is very interesting because the next one that actually dies of the satellite, the first Shaka, of all people, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, back then, before we had the Kuma flashback, and there was a lot of like morally gray paint all over Vegapunk in general, and we weren't sure how like autonomous these individual satellites were from the Stella, the main body, and things like that. Now, you know, we've been given a lot more light to the situation, and Vegapunk's, you know, like morality and things like that, to be able to a little bit more safely assume that he is a good guy based off of like the things that we saw in the Kuma flashback. And so we're led to believe now more than ever that these satellites are autonomous, and that, you know, like Shaka is able to act on his own, just like how York and Atlas and Pythagoras and Lilith and Edison are, and they all have their own like unique quirks and mannerisms and things like that. And so given all of that, it's just super interesting to go back and reread through Egghead without the whole like, well, is it just Vegapunk as a whole, but being able to view these individuals as separate entities with their own autonomy, and trying to explore the reasoning there. I think that York is, of course she's smart, she's a Vegapunk, but I think that she is still a red herring. I think that she is being puppeteered in a way by like, I think that there has to be so much more to this. And that's why a lot of people are thinking that we're leaving Egghead soon. I don't think that. I honestly think we'll probably spend another year here.
It's interesting that so many people love this arc as well so much, when like Oda probably knows that what is at stake here, like as a reaction to the end of Egghead, we've got the Vegapunk. We've been waiting like 20 years or something for him. He knows everything there is to know. We've got a massive floating brain in the sky. We've got multiple versions of Vegapunk that serve different functions. One of them's captured at the moment and could easily just stop eating, and it might affect the others. So there's so much complexity here that like I'll touch on another one that's recent. Excuse me. There are a lot of people talking about Clone Piece. I was going to talk about this on my channel, but I'm not sure if I will now. Like there was a lot of people talking about Clone Piece with Kuma, ever since the S-Bear stuff and the connection of him just going to Egghead somehow, knowing to go there. But Oda did this beautiful little touch where he basically had Bonnie touch the bubble, which made it blow up. And when you actually look at the panels, like it was kind of inevitable. She couldn't avoid it. Like she's pulled into it almost, it feels like. And then the bubble pops, which means all of his memories are gone and there's no more Clone Piece. If Oda can do that with the end of Egghead and neatly tie everything together, that would make it for me the absolute arc of arcs. But I'm trepidatious to see. And the York thing, if the York thing doesn't get resolved and that and other stuff doesn't get resolved, like in that same vein, then I'm going to be disappointed. Like, not that it's you know, he's not making it for me, but that would be my opinion.
The Will of Dreams just he's been bringing this up in the past couple of our chats, and it blows my mind every time he brings it up. But he said, do you think that the Stella satellite could be a solid hologram with disappearing / teleporting, and Vegapunk's real body is maybe in Punk Records? And
yes,
that is such a crazy, like I remember like having snippets of that thought, but not having it as cohesive and solidified as what you've put into our chats recently. So thank you so much, the Will of Dreams, because that is such a crazy thing to think about, is if and especially with what's going on in today's day and age with AI and things like that, if Oda were to bring that into One Piece in a very like nuanced way, is that maybe the real Vegapunk has been done away with by some crazy machinations of like an AI with its own ulterior motives. Like I think you want to hop right in on that, Den. I hear you. Go ahead.
No. To be honest, like, I've got a lot to say. So let me ask. I'm curious, Doc. What do you think? Like you mentioned earlier, this faith in Oda, right? Which a lot of us guys have. We still are like fiending theorists, though. So we do get worried and stuff that maybe it's going to go a different way than we think. Blah blah blah. But what about you? Like, there's a lot to solve about Egghead. Are you just comfortable that it's going to be fine no matter what happens? It doesn't really matter, or like, what's your take on it?
Honestly, I don't really know. It's very complicated. There are so many things, as you said, that are left to be resolved. But I think One Piece just in general is kind of a work of patience. We just got to be patient. Like with the Kuma flashback, I was so fucking hyped to have the I just forgot the name of it, but on the island where they're all fighting God Valley, yeah. God Valley, and then it cuts, and I was like, oh no, and for some time, for a few days, I was like, just in a state, I was like, oh no, don't tell me this is it, and obviously, like, it can't be, right? I think this is the same reason, why we didn't get that much of Kaido.
Yes,
because
exactly.
we're gonna get a full-on flashback. And so I feel like for the things that matters, I'm hopeful that we're gonna get the answers. But I agree that it is a little bit worrisome just how ambitious this small little arc is. There are so many players, and there was like even the Blackbeard ship approaching, the thing with, there are so many things going on at the same time, and this is because we're getting closer and closer to the end. So all of the important parties are getting closer to each other. We're also getting more and more snippets into the revolutionary and dragon, so he's probably gonna come soon as well. So yeah, so many things, and I don't really know where Oda is going. And for my peace of mind, I gotta be hopeful because it is very, very ambitious.
Yeah, I see it like a bunch of like.
Just before you go, sorry, let me just touch real quick.
No, you're good.
That was brilliantly put, in my opinion. That was so concise, and like, it's very true. Like, the trepidation that I was just talking about is juxtaposed to, like, if you just, that's at the time. Whereas now when we look back at like Kaido, no one's sweating it because we're like, well, we'll see more of, like God Valley, like we'll see more of it at some point. Yes. It's fine. It's more at the time that it's like,
I was so mad. So mad. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, because I would see all those little details about Kaido. I'm like, he could become one of the greatest antagonists in One Piece. And then by the end, I was like, this is it? Really? No, I wanted more. But with the time passing, we're like, okay, we know Oda. We kind of can assume where this is going. So
the way that I see it, it's like it's like a snaking like line of dominoes that are set up, and in order for us to get one of those knocked down, there have to be a series of other ones knocked down before it. And though the trail of dominoes might get close to, you might see like a dom, it doesn't mean that that's the next one that you're knocking down. We have to get through all of the preceding dominoes in the chain before we can get there. So like you said with Kaido, we can get close to Kaido as the little snaking like train of dominoes winds around and gets close, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to actually get the full reveals, because in order for us to get that, we need to know more about rocks. The same thing with God Valley, and in order for us to get like a full Garp backstory, we need to know more about Dragon. And in order for us to get like the full bulk of Egghead, we needed to know more about Kuma and Vegapunk. And so now that we're there, I think there is going to be a lot of these dominoes falling down into place that set up the next big major reveals and story beats and things like that. He couldn't give us the full reveal on Devil Fruits before we got like this and that, and and it's all about the order and sequencing in which he wants to knock these down. And I think it's genius storytelling for him to give us just these little tastes, these little breadcrumbs.
I agree. I think some of it's like sorry, Kube, go on.
I was just gonna say, it's very quickly, God Valley is supposed to replace Lockdown flashback or Roger execution when we get all those snippets, because that's what we're getting with Lockdown. Every 5 years, we're getting a point of view of someone. First, it started with the intro. Then we first got Smoker. Then we got the snippets of the former Shichibukai there. Now we get Buggy. Most likely, the last part will be a Marine, because we never see a Marine prominent, and I think Galvai might be the same thing. We'll see different point of views. Right now, we just saw Kuma's point of view.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like piece by piece, it creates the One Piece, right? Like getting everyone's perspective.
Yeah, I like what you did there. But yeah,
He said it. He said
the thing. But yeah, I love that you brought that up though, Doc, about like wanting more from Kaido and from God Valley, because those are two things that I've been saying like we will absolutely get more of. They will be plot significant again. It's just that we have to get more about Rocks first, and we're not at that point yet. We just have to hold on for a little bit longer and, you know, like be on the edge of our seats. We're exactly where Oda wants us to be. And it's really, like, in my opinion, masterfully done. Although I think for somebody who binged so much of the story, I think it'll be a lot more enjoyable for binge watchers. Whereas like the people who are here week to week biting our nails and things like that and sitting through all of the breaks that we've had more so than ever recently, it's it can seem a little bit in those like moments where we're still fresh to it and we still have so much like time ahead of us before we get the reveals. It can seem a bit discouraging, but no, yeah, when we really take a step back and a deep breath and look at the big picture and things like that, it's a masterpiece. It's crazy how well done he's set up so many of these different like plot devices that like it's like one hand will wash the other. It's just about like in due time. And like there's this, it's crazy. Like the webs, you know, that this man has like like the machinations, like as soon as one thing gets revealed, we will just see everything fall into place. And I think that's what I'm really excited about for the end of One Piece, is just seeing how all of these chips hit the table and like where like it's, especially when we see like in the Kuma flashback, like how he had visited to all of those places that he had sent most of the Straw Hats, except for Amazon Lily and where he sent Brook. But seeing him on Vegapunk's old island, like seeing him at the place where he sent Chopper, the Torino Kingdom, seeing him at the Muggy Kingdom, seeing him at all these places, and I'm just like, oh, that is so brilliant. Like he didn't have to go out of his way and reach all the way down to the bottom corners of his bag to pull that out for us, but he did, and I love it. It's so well done.
I agree. I mean, like, as the story progresses, Doc, do you find yourself, in terms of inspiration, you mentioned not much of Oda's work being in like specifically One Piece being in tome. But as the time goes on, do you still learn from like the story as it goes on? Let me rephrase that. I mean, like, because each arc is quite stylistically different. Does your opinions or your influence from One Piece on your own work change arc to arc, if that makes any sense at all?
I'm not sure. I get the idea of what you're asking. Yeah, I'm not sure I've understood your question.
Like, do you? So each arc, you know how it's kind of different in One Piece, right? There's a different style to it. With your own art, do you find that it like some arcs inspire you more than others art-wise? That hopefully makes more sense.
In relation to One Piece directly.
Yeah, so like each arc, do you find yourself like, oh, whoa, like this has got loads, I find myself taking loads of this, but this next arc, I haven't really taken much from it in terms of art or inspiration?
I feel like the type of content that I felt the most inspired by, I would say, would be kind of the latest stuff, honestly, when we're getting more into the spiritual realm, because that's more of my stuff. Usually I very rarely go full fantasy with my stories, but the more so like spiritual elements and kind of like the kind of stuff where you're doubting if there are multiple dimensions maybe existing, all that kind of stuff. That's more of my stuff, for sure. And I I do think we might be getting into those kind of territory. So
like on that, so sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to say on that particular note, I'd be curious because I love surrealism, art, music, anything, film. Is there any series that is particularly inspiring for you? That is like a surrealist series, or like manga, or story, or anything like that?
Fine, surrealist.
Define it. Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's like
we do not have.
It's like it's like kind of no. It's kind of like outer worldly.
To get into the philosophy.
Yeah, like I think like from an artistic standpoint, it's just the trippy kind of things you think about before you go to bed at night. Like, you know, just those. It's not quite absurd, but it's like a little bit outer worldly.
Fantasy.
Yeah, it's
based in reality. Like,
oh yeah, I love that kind of stuff. That's I feel like I don't really know. I feel like the first I don't really know. I do gravitate to towards that kind of story, or even, you know, when it comes to internet culture, I'm really into the kind of stuff like the Backrooms and the SCP Foundation, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
I love that. That is so good. I just love that shit.
It's so interesting. Like I like the psychological and suspenseful side of things a lot. So yeah, that vibes with me a lot.
I also love the idea of this being a community thing that is being created by so many people, and I can't really think of any particular.
It's the only reason why I asked was more personal, like because like for example, I remember like Game of Thrones series 1 ending, and have you seen Game of Thrones?
No, unfortunately.
Okay, right. There's something that happens in this end of season 1, and it's subtle, and it's happening, and you're like, oh, so this is real. And it's like a magical element, and like obviously you haven't seen it, so I can't really go off that example. But yeah, I really like anything that sort of blends the reality with the surreal, or like with the like you said, pseudo real.
I have a One Piece analogy: Marineford, and then having Ace dying in Marineford after everything Luffy went through, not expecting that type of outcome. That's what the analogy that is bringing up.
Yeah,
that kind of twist.
Or when Luffy punches a celestial dragon and it starts to go black and white, and as a reader, like I don't watch the anime, but as you're watching it, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? And then you see like another bit of black and white later on in One Piece, and you're like, wait a minute, like what's going on here? Is there some law that we don't understand? So
I do have one actually. I do have one example, and it was an egghead, and it was at the reverie, and it wasn't me. I think it was Elson or someone brought it up to me. When Karasu uses his suit fruit and like the crows coming out, some of them go off panel, which I find that twist very interesting. Like, you know, like the panel, literally the page, the borders of it were even connected to the outside panels of the manga.
Yeah, and we have like it's like the whole yokai reveal. Like I am stoked for that stuff because there's not a part of me that thinks we're going to go into some Herculean hell. Like I think it's going to be real subtle, real surreal. Like where are these guys from? Like are they from this world? Or like Stranger Things has like a mirror world. You know, it's not quite a whole separate dimension. It's like a different version of our world, and
like Silent Hill. You know, like
just like Silent Hill.
Yeah, or like also like I don't know, like things that like I don't know, I like the whole like alternate reality, alternate timeline, or timeline hopping as well, which like could be there's so many different ways that Oda could tie it together to make it make sense, that it is ridiculous the amount of answers that he has given us while still having so many things being so open-ended. It's wild to me, but I'm a huge fan of like time travel when it's done right. And we have seen time travel in One Piece, but in my opinion, I don't think it was done right. And I want him to cook on that some more. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, we definitely haven't seen the entirety of it. Again, I think he put it in there, but we're gonna come back to it. We have to, because as you said, otherwise it would be so underwhelming. Yeah,
and like again, we can't get a full backstory from Toki because first we need to know more about the Void Century. It's again like the dominoes that have to they're being set up, but they can't be knocked down quite yet because there's still more tidbits that we need for us to get those full reveals. But that's one of the things that I'm anticipating like so much is like I don't necessarily need to know everything about the Void Century, but I need to know how Toki comes into play in the current day and age versus where she was and when she was, I guess I should say, because that is like I remember that being one of the most like shifting like tonally like things that I had ever like, because at that point I was beyond the anime and I was reading the manga, and I remember reading that and I was like, there's no way this is the same story. Like I was like, this is insane, this is crazy, this can't be possible, this is like, and so I need that to definitely make a lot more sense, and I feel like that'll really also beef up my opinions on Wano. I do love Wano, but I think that parts of it could just use a little bit more detail here and there, and some of it could have used a little bit less detail. But yeah, specifically with like Toki, that is how I think a lot of this is going to make a lot more sense. But I don't know. I can't speak too much on it because it's all speculation, you know.
Yeah, it's sorry.
Quickly, I kind of wanna come back to the question about bringing up a surrealism like type of story, or that has given me that kind of feeling. So I'm gonna take this opportunity to bring up a very how to say this underrated piece of work, which is an American manga, and it's called Apple Black. And Apple Black is one of the manga under the Saturday AM, which is like the equivalent of like the Shonen Jump, but like it's not actually weekly, you know what I mean? So it's a collective of American manga. And Apple Black, I'm a huge fan, and there are 4 volumes so far, and it's a fantastic fantasy story like this. So there's magic and whatnot, but there are also those moments where you're heavily kind of doubting reality and what is happening, and I found those very, very interesting. And so because there's those the main character has reoccurring dreams that seem to be memories from his father, that kind of stuff. And you also have a very interesting thing in this universe, which is a mix between magic and technology. There's this thing called the Nirvana, and you can kind of move your mind to it, and you can do a bunch of stuff. And the character that introduces us to this thing also has very ambiguous powers that makes you doubt like reality and whatnot. I don't want to spoil his work, but I would recommend anybody to go read Apple Black. It's absolutely wonderful.
I believe we've had other people mention it, particularly Adam Jim Rakai, talking about American memoir, and the fact that it's really, really good. And I'll definitely check that out, and we'll in TLA maybe give that a look as a whole group as well. Yeah,
that's great, because his channel actually, the creator, the mangaka, White Manga is the name of his channel, White with a Y, and he's been doing videos like tutorials for drawing manga and whatnot for like a decade almost, I think, and he is one of the main people that has taught me how to draw and whatnot. And so a couple months ago, I finally was able to buy his volumes, the volumes of it for his series and whatnot. So I became an official fan.
Sick.
So yeah.
Sick. Yeah, we'll definitely give some attention to that. A shout out, like an honorable mention as well, probably to like in that vein of story as well, is Promised Neverland. Like that first chapter or that first episode, and the way it ends is beautiful. Like the surrealism it just breaks.
I agree.
So yeah, some fascinating stories with that stuff. But yeah, I'll check it out.
Jujutsu Kaisen as well gave me there were a lot of moments where it gave me that kind of feel.
Bro, are you how far in are you? Like, are you manga caught up, or are you anime caught up?
I am a manga caught up, but I'm a few chapters behind.
Okay, I just got caught up in the anime because I quit reading the manga partway into the Shibuya stuff, because I was just like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I literally don't know what's happening right now, and I just finished season 2. I don't know what's happening. I literally don't
Yes,
know
exactly.
what's happening.
This is the one when you just finished Shibuya, you're like, what the hell?
I don't
just
even know.
happened?
I don't even know what I
What?
just watched. Like this is this.
I feel like
it was.
I feel like it was even worse in the anime. Like what in the manga, it just goes by so fast, so you feel very overwhelmed by all the events. But in the
Yeah.
anime, I feel like they gave this with all the kind of like the mood and the way they just graphically, like the visuals and whatnot, and them pacing it slightly down, compared to the manga. I feel like it gives it an almost more unrealistic feeling, and it feels very, very, very different from season one.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's got to be so confusing.
Well,
for
so
anime only.
season two was really, really solid up until the last like 3 episodes, in my opinion, which I feel like could have been
Oh,
like
really?
a whole season in and of themselves, because like it felt like I felt like the flow and the pacing was pretty decent, because I had read most of that like in the manga as well, and I felt like season 2, in my opinion, improved upon a lot of what I had read. If maybe if it was a 1-to-1, at least the musical direction and the animation of things and stuff like that added a little bit to the experience. I don't want to say improved upon, but just like I thought it was a pretty decent adaptation, above average, I would say. But until we get to like the last 3 episodes of season 2, I think it did a really, really, really great job. And then the last 3 episodes, I was just like, what in the world? Like, why? What is this pacing? I don't know. I don't want to spoil anybody who hasn't seen it or anything, or hasn't read it, but it is absolutely insane the amount of things that get brushed over and just completely glossed over and not fleshed out or detailed, and like these reveals that seem a little bit hollow to me and things like. And I'm just like, yo, this is wild. Like, how is this how they end this here, like a season? I literally watched it last night, like the last episode, the last 2 episodes last night, and I went to bed so ridiculously confused. I was like, maybe I'll get it when I wake up, or maybe I'll rewatch it and stuff. Like, no, I still don't know what's going on. Like, it's crazy how they end a season like that. And yes, the Wheel of Dreams, I will get Cody to explain it to me because it doesn't make sense.
I'm here. I mean, I can explain too.
Yeah, Josh is there. Yeah.
But I don't want to explain it like on stream though, because I know Cube isn't caught up.
There's no way that you can kind of, explain it without explaining it. So, at least the things that confuse you, because my memory is pretty bad. So you're telling me about like 3 episodes ago, and I'm not sure exactly where that lands.
So like, it's not a spoiler for me to say it, but like everything from the Mahito fight to the conclusion was it felt so rushed. And there are things that didn't get actual closure or conclusion on, that we just in the middle of events leave that scene, and then we never go back to them, and we only know like the aftermath, but we don't actually see the conclusion. There's literally scenes that are incomplete. In the middle of events, they just cut away and never go back, and then we just find out like the epilogue of that, but we don't actually see what happens. And that is so frustrating to me.
Are you talking about characters we might not see ever again?
Yes. And so like there's more to it. Yeah. There's more to it than that as well. It's just like, go rewatch through the last episode and tell me any of that makes any sense. Like, it's so crazy. The last episode could have been like 3 or 4 episodes just by itself of them making it make sense. They did not do that. I'm actually like legitimately a little bit upset if this is like, I don't know, it's crazy to me, but maybe I'm just missing a lot of stuff, and maybe like, I don't know, it's crazy. It might not be as bad as I like my experience with it was. That's why I need to like talk to somebody who actually knows what the heck just happened, because I am so ridiculously confused. But I do think that season 2 all the way up until a certain point was phenomenal, and I loved what I had read and understood of Shibuya, but it just got to a point where I could not understand what was going on. Like,
honestly, I get that, and Jujutsu Kaisen gets very, very confusing, and I think this is also why I'm a few chapters behind, because with Jujutsu Kaisen, I feel like if you don't follow what is going on in the fandom and in the community, it's kind of difficult to maybe stay in the story at times, just because it gets very complicated. And so interacting with the content is a great way to have all the reminders, being reminded of this and that, being, having analysis on things and whatnot. But I do get how it could be confusing. Yeah.
Same with One Piece, really.
Yeah, I'm gonna try
you miss a lot.
doing an entire rewatch of season 2, like binging, because watching it weekly is a very different experience for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a very bingeable season up until a point. And then I get very passionately confused. Like, I don't want to say it's bad. It's just like, if I knew what were going on, maybe I could call it good, but I can't really say that with confidence, you know what I mean? Like with where I'm at right now.
Because I felt like the latest, I'm not sure exactly about the 3 latest episodes. Maybe I'm gonna see on a rewatch, but I felt like the second part of, just Shibuya was pretty strong, especially with the Sukuna thing. From this point on, I think it was really, really good. But I felt like the Gojo flashback was almost gave me more of that weird feeling of, I'm not sure about the direction and the pacing and all that stuff. It felt a bit, I don't know. It felt very different on season 1 and it felt a bit off. But I'm gonna see on a rewatch.
Yeah, I loved so it definitely felt a little bit off, like the first 3 episodes, like Hidden Inventory, but like for the episode 3 specifically, I thought it was really, really, really well done. Like, it was crazy how well done it was, in sub and in dub. Like, I really vibed with it. But I gave up on JJK like forever ago, and then came back to it because I was like, okay, there's a lot of buzz. Season 2's killing it right now, apparently. So like, I felt like getting back into it, and I didn't know if they were actually going to get all the way Shibuya. So they got to a point where it passed up. Yeah, it got to a point where it was past where I ended up getting to in the manga when I first tried to get into it way back, like when season 1 was like wrapping up and stuff like that. And oh man, I can go for a whole another couple hours on JJK, but I know we don't have too much more time on that. But I do, I'm gonna have to check out Apple Black. That's something I have not actually heard about before, so looking forward to checking that out.
A quick mention onto this. There's an easy entry to discovering Apple Black, because White Manga on his YouTube channel, I think the first chapters, there's a dub version of his chapters. So he has edited the panels, and put voiceover on top of them with actual voice actors. And so you can kind of watch those to see if you kind of vibe with the universe at first.
That's sick.
But I feel like, buying his volumes, and it's cool, because it's a smaller like artist and whatnot. So buying directly from them is cool as well.
Yeah, supporting them.
Yeah, exactly. So
I love when a community. Yeah, I love when a community gets together and does stuff like that, and there's like a collective effort, like you were saying about like kind of like with the whole SCP Foundation stuff, is like when a community drives a project like that, even though obviously there's the source material they're being faithful to, but like those pooling of resources and like collective minds, it's so cool. Like for JoJo's, there's like a huge following online as well, and like they've already done like a fan dubbing and made up like a whole like animation and song for like when part 7 finally gets like it's crazy the things that fans will do. So that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, but the creator is doing this himself, so that is even more impressive. But yeah, and this is actually something it's very similar to the thing I am working on for 2024 for my own series. So
that's what I was about to ask. Like,
nice.
So like before we close up, I mean, this is our opportunity, right? What details can you leak to us about like TOON and everything, like issue 4, stuff like that? Like what's the spoilers?
So about what is going to happen, or like my project?
Well, when can we find out? Like, when are we going to get the next drop? Can we expect more soon? What's going on? Like,
I hope that I'm going to be able to publish something soon. But yeah, I am working on a project very similar to what I described, where I'm going to be you know, doing some editing with the panels, and I'm working with voice actors that are dubbing, that are going to be dubbing my characters. So that's very exciting. And I'm going to be
Very
able to,
exciting.
yeah, that's going to be great for a promotion. But yeah, it's a long time ahead. I'm going to be publishing those in a while, because it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of editing and whatnot. But I'm hoping that at least just simply the next episodes, hopefully soon. I hope that in February I might go back to publishing a little bit slowly while working on the project.
Well, we'll be there for both. So
I appreciate it.
for sure.
I already have hold on, let me check exactly the number. Like about 15 chapters in sketch, like unfinished, storyboard wise.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
And I'm way ahead, you know, with the story and whatnot. But yeah, the actual release, I hope in February, I'm gonna be able to continue.
Okay. Cool.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Kube, you sound so deflated right now.
Yeah, I was like,
I was not, because I was eating some chips, and that's why. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
what?
I was like,
What's the
oh,
correlation?
It's
eating at the same time.
It makes sense
started-
somehow.
Yeah.
But if you guys wanted, we're right at about the 2.5 hour mark. If y'all want, we can go into outros. So that's it's wonderful to hear that there's more to come very soon. Is there anything else you wanted to tell the people, Dr. GB?
Honestly, no. I'm just happy that I've been able to go on the stream and to talk with everybody. Everyone is lovely here. So yeah, that's it.
Hey, we appreciate that. Yeah, check out the links in the. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, Kube's been singing your praises for many months, many months, and like at TLA, we've been aware of your name and like keeping an eye on stuff for probably at least 6 months, if not longer. So it's to have you here is
it's a mix
it's
between
really
Lucas and I.
like-
Lucas was the one talking about Dr. JB, and then I met Dr. JB a month ago, and I've been talking about Dr. JB for months. It's Lucas and I.
That is actually crazy. I appreciate Lucas so much.
Yeah.
I think I only streamed with him like once or twice on this channel, but I think all of this is thanks to Disness, really. Because,
Oh yeah, we got mad love for Disness.
Yeah, it's all thanks to him. Yeah, it's all thanks to him.
Yeah, big man. Okay, yeah, cool. Well, as I say, we're super happy to have you. And anytime you want to like shoot the shit, you just say the word and it's done.
But yeah,
Appreciate it.
make sure. Yeah, we would love to have you back on soon, hopefully, and we can talk more about One Piece once we've got more of these dominoes knocked down and more to chew on. But make sure that you guys check out the links in the description. I've got Dr. GB's link tree in there, and also their YouTube channel. Check out TOON. Like I said, I've read the prologue chapter, and the art is fire. I think that a lot of our community will vibe with it. And you know, exciting stuff to come hopefully soon on that. And
Yep.
Den, you got anything you want to tell the people?
Nothing specifically. Everything's good in the Den TLA world. We're happy to have everyone as always. Vex, you've been amazing as always, and thank you for streaming. Doc, thank you for coming. Kube, well, I mean, you're all right, I guess. And Josh, yeah,
Damn.
good to see you,
Thank you
good
very
to see you,
much.
brother. Yeah, so it's love from TLA, but I'll let the others do their piece.
You're humble. Everybody make sure you check out links in the description. We got Den Kushi's YouTube channel as well, where he's pumping out some quality spice consistently there for you with the theory, with the hunger for the theories. And then we've got Josh. I understand you're trying to get together a little bit of a series here on TLA as well, right?
Yeah.
Tell the
Still a lot
people.
of work.
Oh yeah, we got your
Lots
back
of
though. Tell the people what's in the works for 2024.
Maybe some solo streams with some games. Cheers.
Hey, we love
Gaming,
that.
Nice.
Yeah, we love that. Yeah, gaming is something that's also very, very big in the community that we have. make sure you join in the Discord, because there's a whole channel for that as well. Link in the description for that. Where we've got a lot of people vibing on that. I know Den's pretty big into it, so he's pretty hype. He's been trying to get some TLA gaming streams going on for a minute now, so that's super exciting. Kube, what's going on with you, brother? And tell the people what you got working on.
Listen, TLA be working on some it's a new year, volume 2, so we're working to have a quality level of guests. We already started with this stream, and it's just to surprise the people. And keep an eye out, we might be starting soon some other streams that's outside of One Piece. So not gonna tease too much.
Yeah, just for the JJK unlock.
Fire. Yeah, looking forward to it. And yeah, so we've been TLA. I've been vexyz the Lurking Legend, the head cook. I got my own One Piece D&D stuff that I do every Tuesday on my channel, link in the description. If you're into that kind of thing, check it out. We've got some very, very spicy streams coming up soon with some wonderful guests next week. Stay tuned for Chadmirals on Friday. We're going to have Whole Grain Coltrane. Check out Saturday. We're going to be having Middle Way. And then we've also got a very, very, very hype stream coming out the first weekend of February. Is that correct, Den?
I completely don't know what you're talking about, so I'm going to say yes.
Well, we've been hyping it up.
Oh, we do. We have. Is it the 5th? I
It's
don't want
the
to give the date
third.
if I don't know, but
I think it's the third.
It's the
Yeah.
third.
the third. Okay. So Brago is going to be on TLA with us, and we're going to be spitting
Hype.
and cooking, and everyone, tune in because he's an absolute goat.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty wild. Highly anticipated. Just been such a crazy way to kick off the year so far with the stream of Liberation and with the string of guests that we've been having. Again, Doc, so glad to have you on today as well. But crazy things to come from us and from you as well in 2024. So everybody make sure you subscribed and followed all of the socials and hit that link tree in the description. So you can be there for it as it all drops. And make sure you like the stream. Again, we've been TLA. We love you, chat. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's it for today. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Au revoir.
Everybody.
Bye, everyone.